This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL Premiership season
on ABC Radio,
ABC Sport Digital, and take us with you on the ABC Listener.
Look for the AFL button.
Essendon and Melbourne go head-to-head at the MCG with plenty on the line tonight. With the Blues suffering a loss at the hands of the Western Bulldogs, the Bombers could fly to as high as second with victory tonight, while Melbourne will be looking to their finals hopes to keep alive without their All-Australian ruckman and captain Max Gawn. Hi everyone, Matt Clinch with you for ABC Sport. A little bit of rain around the MCG and conditions around 11 degrees, so certainly one for the big jacket and the beanie and the scarf. Lauren Borden to call the action alongside me. There's no late changes with Taj Woden and Nick Hine. The sub, welcome to you, Loz.
Thanks, Clinchy. It's nice to be here and watch these teams play. They haven't played since April last year, so it's been a fair while that we've seen them verse each other. And like you mentioned, it's all just got a little bit more exciting now that the Bombers can make it up to second if they win. And also Melbourne now has Western Bulldogs sitting on the same points as them. So we've got a little bit more interest in this game just from the match that finished a couple of minutes ago.
In the back row tonight, Nathan Burke and Daniel Harford are ready to go. Welcome once more to both of you. Burkey, to start with you, no Max Gawn, and Simon Goodwin's backed in Harrison Petty.
Yeah, good evening, Clinchy and Loz and Half. Yeah, Harrison Petty, interesting one. We're watching him jump there into the bag, and yeah, it's lovely jumping into a bag and tapping the ball down. It all look beautiful. But when you got someone coming the other way, the size of Sam Draper, it makes it a little bit tougher. So that midfield battle, I think, is certainly starting off in the hands of the Bombers, I think.
And Half, welcome once more. That the carrot is so big for the Bombers tonight. One of my favourite players, Cosy Pickett, plays game 100 as well tonight.
And he was very good last week against the West Coast Eagles. Good evening, everyone. Nice to be with you again. You could say that it was just the West Coast Eagles, but he's still going to put it out there. He's going to be a player they need to stop tonight, no doubt. Looks like Andrew McGrath's going to get that match up early for the Bombers. Clayton Oliver starts on the bench for the Demons. Another fascinating start for the Demons in front of a big crowd here at the MCG.
As we're all in readiness here at the MCG for round 18 of the AFL, two top 8 competitors to do battle. It's Essendon and Melbourne. Here's Lauren Borden.
And Harry Petty steps into the ruck in place of Max Gawn. It's Draper with the tap out though. Gets it down to Jones, who hand passes it to Caldwell, kicks it forward. Salem tops it off easily for Melbourne.
Clayton Oliver starting on the bench for Melbourne.
So Salem kicks it out wide to Moniz Wakefield. Sitting in the centre square of the MCG, he's told to play on by the umpire. A good 60-metre kick inside 50 for the Demons. Comes down to Petty, who's made his way into the forward line. Gets tackled. Draper's there. He picks up the footy. Then he's tackled. Kelly then goes in for the Bombers. Dispossessed of the footy. Merritt goes in there as well. Neil Bullen trying to dig it out. Plenty of players around the footy on a wet night. Finally, it's Kelly who can send it out of defensive 50 for the Bombers. It'll be coming back here, though, via Langdon, who hand passed it across to McVie and then got it back from him. High, skying ball inside 50 for the Ds, drops into the forward pocket, bounces once, and Redmond punches it away. It'll be Viney who can collect, tries to snap it away, kicks a high, skying ball. Moniz Wakefield punches it down, finds its way to Fritsch. He puts it on his boot to snap for the first goal of the game. Melbourne land the first blow early in tonight's match. And it's off the boot of Bailey Fritsch. It's the D's 1 straight 6 leading the Bombers, who are yet to score. Just a minute played in the first term. And Saturday night footy on ABC Sport, your experts Nathan Burke and Daniel Harford.
Well called, Loz, because there was a lot happening in that little passage of play there. The ball was just pinballing backwards and forwards, and I think there was almost about 30 of the 36 players inside Melbourne's forward 50. And it just was one Essendon defender decided to just go, you know what, I'll just play 50 here and not go with Bailey Fritsch. The ball comes out the back of the pack and a lovely left foot snap to him. But goodness me, I think we're in for a really tight game tonight because both teams, there's a lot to play for. It's wet, slippery conditions. So game on.
Draper wins down the tap to Stringer, kicks inside 50. The mark is intercepted. And Jack McVie takes the mark for Melbourne. The final member of our team sitting in the front row tonight is Rory Campbell. Welcome to you, Rory.
Evening, everyone. I reckon if treading water was an Olympic event, I'd be a good shout about now. It's been raining pretty steadily for the last half an hour, but it's just eased off as we've started play here this evening, which will be fantastic news for the fans and probably the players.
Thank you, Rory. McVie to Rivers. Kicks up the Shane Warne stand wing. No mark taken. Cosy Pickett in game 100. Gathers to Melbourne. Hand pass to Tholstrup. Over the top looking for Fritsch. Taps it to his own advantage. Can't gather. Windsor slides in. Can't take possession. The Bombers look to clear. It's Caldwell who gathers across half-back. Kicks into the back of his opponent. Langford races after it. Gathers the footy. Gets a hand pass out in front of Stringer. On the members' side, it trickles out of play. Out in front of Jake Stringer and Alex Moniz Wakefield, and a boundary throw in between the two benches.
A little pushing and shoving too between Moniz Wakefield and Jake Stringer.
No backward steps from the young fella. Good on him.
Not bad coming from him. Just his third game against Jake Stringer. Getting into him as the ball's tossed in front of the Essendon bench. Penny comes over Draper to tap it down. Then Viney runs onto it. Can't gather it. Hits it into Caldwell. Then Viney slips over. In goes Windsor. He couldn't pick it up either. Draper overruns it. In the end, Petty goes in to dig it out and hand pass it away to Rivers. He hand passes it over the top towards Salem. It goes through his legs as he's sliding over the boundary line. We'll have another throw in front of the Essendon bench.
And that's what Petty has to do after the tap or the stoppage. He needs to get involved in the play, get some handballs, get involved in the chains, make Draper defend.
So Melbourne ahead by Fritsch's goal as it's thrown back in. Cox running after it, then Pickett goes in to try and pick it up in game 100. He's got it, but he's tackled to the ground and everyone piles on top of him. And the umpire will come in just to ball it up right on the AFL logo at centre wing, northern side of the MCG. It's Melbourne ahead by 6 points. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Draper's able to get rid of Petty and throw a boot at it, clear the congestion, but Jack McVie does likewise. Volleys it to half forward, Kelly in front, Van Rooyen from behind for Melbourne. Hand pass to Bolstra, bumped off it by Merritt, wins it back for the Bombers. Hand pass to McGrath, through traffic, linked up with Kelly. They work it through the middle of the ground, but brought down. No free kick as Martin had a long time. Spills out the way of Tholstrup for Melbourne, gets it to Viney, kicks Andover into half forward. Kelly almost run down by Cozzy Pickett, but got the hand pass away to Durham. He's kicking in the middle of the ground, not a great kick. It cleared Sam Draper. And Moniz Wakefield marks. Hand pass to Salem. Inside 50 for Melbourne. Flying in the pack. Van Rooyen thought he was shoved out. No whistle coming as the Bombers clear. Martin out towards half back. Durham was dragged down. He'll get a free kick for a hold. He'll come back his way at right half back. Melbourne a goal to Essendon yet to score. 5 minutes gone. Opening quarter on ABC Sport. Here's Lauren Borden.
The ball finally makes its way back to Sam Draper. He's impressing this season for the Bombers. The chippy coming down from Seymour. And now a fixture in the black and red. He kicks long down the wing. It'll be turned over right here. It was Rivers standing the drop of the footy and easily takes the mark for Melbourne. He puts it on his right boot. Flat ball inside 50. It goes straight towards Van Rooyen. Bounces off his chest though. It comes across to Rivers. You can hand pass it to Fritsch. He'll put it on his left boot, trying to get it towards goal. Still in the left forward pocket for Melbourne. Fritsch goes after it again. He kicks across the face of goal and it's eventually gone through just for a minor score with Langdon chasing after it. So it's 1-1, both from the boot of Fritsch, leading Essendon yet to score. 5.5 minutes played in the first term.
Harrison Jones knocking that through there for the Bombers. Good education opportunity for him tonight against Langdon on that outer wing. The Shane Warne stands side wing at the moment for the Bombers.
Daniel Harford with you on ABC Sport. 5-1, the inside 50s early the way of Melbourne. As McGrath with a clearing kick for the Bombers. Kicks up to Draper. No Todd Goldstein tonight, so we'll ruck alone. Hand pass to Merritt. The captain in the middle of the ground finds Nick Martin. Back edge of the centre square for the Bombers. Kicks laterally out to Kelly. His chip kick is just a little wide for Ridley, but he have enough time to gather. Under the Shane Warne stand. With the light rain having eased, he chips it around the boundary line, and Nate Caddy marks. The youngster who's forced his way into this Essendon lineup. He veers out to the right and drives it long inside 50. Jones sets himself. Petty from behind makes the spoil. And it goes out of play in the left forward pocket for the Bombers. At the city end, it's Melbourne who lead by 7 points. 6.5 minutes gone. Opening quarter on ABC Sport.
So we saw Zach Merritt last week have one of the games of the year. He was magnificent. Simon Goodwin says, I don't want that on my watch. Alex Neil-Bullen been given the role of trying to curtail him tonight.
Draper and Petty again in the ruck. Petty taps it out, but straight to Jones of the Bombers, who hand passes behind him. It'll be picked up by Rivers of Melbourne. His kick is chopped off by Langford, who marks and then points to Pickett, who overstepped the mark by about a millimetre, and he'll get the 50.
It was, stiff and silly by Pickett at the same time. So he assumed that the ball hadn't travelled the required distance and the umpire was going to call play on. So he did come charging forward. The umpire, instead of saying, hey, stop, take a step backwards, 2 steps, he decided to pay the 50.
So it's Kyle Langford now, who'll be kicking from a slight angle to the left to put the Bombers on the board for the first time tonight. Easily done by Langford. And Essendon has its first of tonight. It's the Bombers 1 straight 6, trailing Melbourne 1-1-7. Nearly 8 minutes played in the opening term at the MCG. It's Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
On the end, a 50-metre penalty helps on most occasions, certainly when it's in your attacking mid-area and you get it to inside forward 50. Cole Langford's been a great player for the Bombers this season. He's been a good opportunist for them forward of the ball. He's been a good key position player forward of the ball at times. 24 goals for the season. He's had a really strong output for the Bombers. That'll get his confidence up, and probably against a runner play. I reckon the D's have, to me, Berkey, have been the more aggressive, the more assertive team so far in this game.
Yeah, definitely more aggressive. They're tackling. If the first bloke doesn't lay the tackle, then second and third won't in. And 8-minute mark, and Clayton Oliver comes on for his first run tonight.
Back in the middle of the ground, Draper wins down the tap against Petty and then gathers. Rivers lays the tackle on him. And the umpire will come in to separate them. 0437 774 774. If you want to get in touch with us via the SMS, Draper with a big slap forward. Gains a good 15 metres. McVie read it best for Melbourne. He gathers through the middle of the MCG. Kicks out in front of Chandler. Foot races on between he and Kelly. Chandler gathers. Hand pass to Neil Bullen. Pokes it to Tholstrup. It's over his head and Redmond juggles the mark. Across half back for the Bombers. Quickly turns to right half back as he works it out to Dersma. He wants to continue around the members' wing, looking for Wright. It won't get to him, and a good mark. Taken by Tom McDonald in between Wright and Langford. Melbourne take it back.
McDonald chips into the centre of the ground. It's marked by Rivers. Waits for his teammates to get ahead of him. He was going towards Petty. Petty was too slow to make it. It was a poor kick as well, and Durham chops it off for the Bombers. He gets it across to Hind, who scrubs the kick along the ground towards Wright. Has to hand pass to Merritt, who's in some space at half forward for the Bombers. He can go for a run. Then Windsor tries to chase him down. He's forced to swivel around. Kicks on his left. Into the forward pocket. It's Lever who punches it up, and it's a clearing kick from McVie. Outside of defensive 50 for Melbourne. Defensive 50 for Melbourne. It might be coming back, though, for the Bombers. Merritt chips it to the top of the 50. It's a mark taken for the Bombers, and Sam Durham's made his way to the top of the arc for the Bombers.
It was a smart kick in there by Merritt, because Melbourne had loaded up down the line, expecting him in the slippery conditions to just bang the ball straight towards goals. He just took it off the line inside 50, and it's going to be a long kick here from Durham. Man on the mark is around about 49.5 metres out.
So alongside Merritt, Durham was pretty important in that win against Collingwood last Friday night. He launches it from about 52 metres out. It's got the distance. It's gone all the way. Sam Durham's put Essendon second through for tonight and given the Bombers the lead as well. It's the Bombers with 2 straight 12. They're leading Melbourne 1-1-7. 10.5 minutes played, and it's Essendon with the last 2 goals of the game. Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport. Your experts Daniel Harford and Nathan Burke.
You just need guys that are smart enough with the ball in hand and make great decisions. Zach Merritt is one of those guys. That's why you have to try and limit his influence in general play. A lot of other players, Berkey would have just slapped that ball on the boot and gone long to the top of the square as far as they could get it, but with very little time to execute, he pulled off a magnificent kick inside to the corridor, and they get a goal on the back of it. Just a fantastic player. He's had a great season so far, and they are going to need a handle on him tonight.
You get the sense if Essendon can match the effort and intensity of Melbourne, they'll win this game. If they don't, these are in with a chance.
In the middle, Rivers tries to get the clearance, but it's picked off by Perkins. Hand pass to Draper. High up and under kick. Slap forward. Rivers spinning through traffic for Melbourne. Gets a clearance up towards half forward. A good mark taken by Ben Mackay against Daniel Turner, who signed a new contract extension during the week for the Demons. Another couple of years. And Mackay on that occasion too strong. Scores level at goal apiece at the Adelaide Oval. 1-1-7 through 7 minutes there as well. The kick out wide for the Bombers is too wide in the end. Nick Martin with a little acknowledgement as it goes out of play, and a throw in under the Shane Warne stand. 12 minutes gone, opening term on ABC Sport. It's the Bombers 2 straight 12 to Melbourne 1-1-7.
Umpire flings the ball back in. Draper goes after it for the tap, then tries to pick it up. He can't. It'll be kept on the ground there with a tackle on top of Jade Gresham of the Bombers, who finally has to give the ball back to the umpire. So the ball up Southern's stand, in front of the Southern stand at the MCG again. Draper just tries to pick it out. He puts it on his boot. It goes towards the boundary line. And the umpire will say it is insufficient intent. So it kind of looked like he just couldn't get boot to ball cleanly. And he's been penalised for it, Draper. So from the free, it's Rivers holding the footy, and he chips it to Lever. He can just chip it forward as well to Oliver. He's come on after starting on the bench. He's holding the footy between wing and half forward. Decides to go inside 50 now with a long kick. Draper's made his way back there. Stands tallest and easily takes the mark in the pack for Essendon. He kicks out towards Ridley, who chips across goal to Redmond, bounces once before getting to him. He has to hand pass in the right back pocket to Dersma, swivels around his opponent, and he goes with a clearing kick outside of 50 over the top of Durham's head. It goes to May. He can't pick it up cleanly, so he decides to push it out to Viney.
And a high contact, so it's going to come back Melbourne's way as the quick kick came inside 50. So it's Jack Viney who'll end up with the free kick out of left half forward. Essendon leading by 5 points. 13 minutes gone. Opening quarter on ABC Sport. As Jack Viney looks deep inside the 50, sends it in the path of Van Rooyen and Melcham. Melcham in the pack, can't take the mark. Ridley hands pass to Mason Redmond, who cleverly steps out of play and a throw in the left forward pocket for the Demons.
These forward pressures been pretty good. Essendon got numbers back trying to run it out en masse, but they haven't been able to get it out cleanly.
Toss back into play. Draper and Turner. Turner in front for Melbourne. Tries to drop it down to his own advantage. Can't gather. Darren tried to sock it off the ground. He left it behind. Quick clearing kick from Rivers towards the goal mouth. It's offline to the left. And a minor score. Melbourne 1-2-8 to the Bombers 2 straight. 12, 14 minutes gone. Opening term on ABC Sport.
9 disposals for Rivers already for the D's. He's leading all comers handsomely. The next best is 5.
Jordan Ridley with the kicking duties just chips it to Shield, who goes out wide to a left back pocket where he finds Kelly. He'll chip it short again towards Martin. He's racked up the most uncontested possessions in the competition, which isn't too surprising when you watch him play along half back, and he just chips it down towards Langford, who's come to half back for the Bombers. Looks ahead and waits for a lead to come, and in the end just goes for a long bomb to a pack. Caddy went up highest. He couldn't take the mark. Comes down to Monty's Wakefield. He's tackled. Umpire says play on. Wright goes after it for the Bombers. He can hand pass it away to Cox. Hand pass to Caldwell. Flicks it across to Shields, and he'll hand pass it to Dersma, who can find Martin by hands as well. It's Martin, though, who goes with a kick inside 50 to the forward pocket, and here he is, Nate Caddy. A lot of raps on this player, and he's already making impacts in the few games he's played for the Bombers so far. So he looks to snap from the forward pocket, has a go at the goals, and he just misses. So it didn't take much time on the kick there, Nate Caddy. And it's Essendon's lead extending back out to 5 points, 15 and a half minutes played.
Demons trying to bring it in quickly through Salem. Copped off by Dersma, inside 50. Jake Stringer marks, hugging it to his chest. On a 45-degree angle, he'll kick from around 40 metres out.
Going back to that phase before, Loz, you caught it well. Young fella Nate Caddy just didn't take enough time in those opportunities. You've got 30 seconds. You might as well get a chance to breathe and get your composure back. And just force the issue a little bit. One of the things you can do, though, on kick-ins for your defending, you get it back in quickly on turnover. You will find space like Jake Stringer has found here.
Goals in 15 to be 16 matches this season. Jake Stringer from just inside 50. He drifts it left to right and through for a minor score. The Bombers by 6 points, 16 minutes gone. Opening quarter on ABC Sport. Rory Campbell on the boundary.
Guys, Sam Durham came off a short time ago and he sort of had a bit of a pained look on his face. I thought he was just gassed, but he sat down on the bench. The physio came over and had a squiz at his right knee. Doesn't appear to be any ongoing treatment, but maybe one to keep an eye on this evening.
Thanks, Rory. As the kick out comes to centre wing, which Shieldo collects for the Bombers. Hand pass to Langford. He handballs back to right. His kick smothered by Chandler, who runs straight into Andy McGrath, who's tackling him and will be holding the ball. So Chandler did everything right until he ran into Andy McGrath, who locked him up and won the free kick for the Bombers. He hand passes out to Martin, who kicks long down the southern wing towards Merritt. Holds onto the mark, not paid, but he can still hand pass it away to Caldwell. Kicks inside 50. Here's Caldwell in the left forward pocket again. He decides to dish it off to Stringer, who's marked just inside the boundary line. He won't have a kick because he finds Xavier Dersma almost directly in front, 25 metres out.
Well, the Melbourne defenders are just not resetting fast enough. As soon as that ball turns over, that's the second time in a row that the Essendon forwards have snuck out the back. And it's not just one guy sneaking out the back. They've had 2 or 3 sneaking out the back. And that time it was Dersma just coming from the fat side of the ground into a dangerous spot. And really good, unselfish play there by the Bombers. But Melbourne defenders are ball watching at the moment and getting caught out badly.
Super quick turnaround from McGrath, half back. It's Dersma that finishes off for the Bombers and makes Melbourne pay. Essendon now with the last 3 goals in the match, 3-2-20, leading Melbourne 1-2-8 after Fritsch kicked the first goal of the game. It's been the Bombers with the last 18 minutes played in the first quarter, and it's Essendon ahead by 12.
It's a good pick-up, Perky, I reckon. And on the way on the transition back from the Bombers, they're not blasting it forward. They're picking off 3 players and it's just catching the defenders out for the Demons. They're in no man's land because they haven't reset, but they haven't come up hard enough either, so they don't find themselves in any position to defend it whatsoever. And if you can use the ball really cleverly, like the Bombers did in that forward attack, you're always going to find some space.
Meanwhile, at the Adelaide Oval, it's the Saints 2-1-13, leading the Crows 1-1-7. There is a call available on the ABC Listen app. Just click on the AFL Extra button. It's the Bombers with the last 3 goals of the match. Back in the middle, Draper wins down the tap against Petty. It's knocked on by Cox, gets it into the path of Caldwell. Hand pass to Dersma, inside 50 once more. Peter Wright can't take the mark. May makes the spoil. Moniz Wakefield races after it from Melbourne. Gathers, hand pass to Vine. He shoved as he got his kick away. It bounced just inside the boundary line. And a boundary throw in Members' side. On the SMS, 0437 774 774. Luca in Port Adelaide says string a pass rather than taking a shot. I'm amazed.
I think we all were to a degree. It was the perfect and the right thing to do.
Throw in clears the 2 rucks. Petty and Draper at the back. Moniz Wakefield can't take it from Melbourne. Petty could have been held in non-possession. No whistle. Little toe poke from Gresham is clever. Into the path of Shield, trying to knock it to Merritt. Hard against the boundary line with the greasy ball. It slides across. And a throw in. Crowd is built here at the MCG. There's a lot on level 2 and at the very back of the Shane Warne stand, taking cover. Expecting maybe a few more showers tonight.
At the moment the rain subsided, which is good news for all those sitting in the front row in their ponchos. Umpire tosses the ball back in. Here's Dersma, picks it up. He's knocked off it and Pickett can pick it up and send a clearing kick down the wing for Melbourne. It's chopped off by Ridley. He picks it up, has some space ahead of him, can hand pass across to Shields, who gets around Pickett and puts it on his left boot. To the top of the 50 for Essendon. Draper's there, but at the back is McDonald and he intercepts to take the mark for Melbourne.
So Melbourne are playing 4 ahead of the footy effectively at the moment, and the Bombers are holding shape, so they can't afford to just get it and blaze. They've got to work their way through the numbers here.
Bombers by 12 points. Tom McDonald kicks long around the Members' wing. No mark taken as Dersma and Chandler wrestle forward at ground level, and the umpire will come in and pull it up. Matt Lynch and Lauren Borden calling the action. Rory Campbell on the boundary. Daniel Harford and Nathan Burke, your experts, as Cossie Pickett trying to break away from the stoppage. He's locked up. And Jai Caldwell wins the free kick for holding the ball. It's not the easiest man to catch, Cossie, so he did well there. And the Bombers to take it back on the wing.
He's a better player than I thought he was, this kid. I must admit, his last 8 weeks have been really impressive.
Hasn't emerged as one of the next brigade in their midfield as the kick up towards Draper, who marks on his chest, 70 metres out from home at the city end, kicks towards Jones and Stringer, and Jones juggles the mark in front. Play on. May comes charging in, lays the tackle. Must have been touched as the umpire calls for the ball. Stringer's kicked it through. Now hang on, it might even be a Melbourne free kick as the umpire. Or is he just trying to clear space? Everyone's a little confused at the minute.
Looks like a mark in real time, didn't he? He's front of the pack.
The only other guy who could potentially mark it would have been Peter Wright.
Peter Wright, yeah.
So ball up in the end. The result will be the same for the Bombers because Jones gets it from the tap out from Draper. Oh, he's missed. He's missed to the right-hand side. So he almost made the most of a ball up 20 metres out, but he misses. It's Essendon now ahead by 13 points after all that commotion.
Yeah, the replay shows that was a mark. Mucked that one up.
May brings Melbourne back into play to Bowie, who kicks up to right half back, and the mark is taken by Chandler. Across his body, a kick up towards Van Rooyen. Good clean pick up on the half volley. Out past to Neil Bullen, works it back to Langdon. Back to Van Rooyen on the wing, kicks up towards Tholstrup. Back with the flight was Kelly. Didn't have eyes on the footy, gave away the free kick. And Tholstrup takes it, kicks up towards Turner, who leading out marks on his chest. He's right on 50 out to the right.
He's fairly confident. He didn't sort of turn around quickly and see if there's anyone free inside 50. He was almost like, no, I know I've got the distance. Man on the mark, he's got his toes right on the 50-metre line, so he's going to take a decent kick from here.
8 goals, 3 for the fourth-year Demon, picked up in the mid-season draft in 2021. He's out to the right. Daniel Turner will need every metre he's got. He unloads with a long-range shot. He's comfortably got the journey, and through it goes. New contract during the weekend, 6 points tonight for Disco Turner. And Melbourne get a crucial goal back. For the Bombers to kick the last 3 goals in the contest. Essendon by 7 points, 3-3-21 to Melbourne 2-2-14. Meanwhile, at the Adelaide Oval, it's the Saints 2-1-13 to the Crows 1-1-7. Daniel Harford and Nathan Burke on ABC Sport.
It was a nice finish, Berkey.
And he didn't seem like he flushed it either. It was come off slightly abnormally, but geez, it made the distance. And really important one there for the Demons, because the Bombers had the better the last 7 or 8 minutes and looked like doing it fairly easily. So just to arrest a little bit of momentum back their way, which is good. But the way that they use the ball through the middle of the ground and find those free players, that's going to be the key, as well as their pressure. They've got to win the contested footy.
So footy gets tossed up back in the middle. Durham hand passes it to his captain in Merritt, who can just get a kick away towards Dersma. Holding onto the footy, outer edge of the centre square. He gets told to hurry it along. Kicks it long inside 50 for the Bombers. High kick in there. Levers there for the D's, and he takes the mark and sits back for Melbourne. Chips it across to his partner in crime, May, who's got it in the left back pocket, and just chips it across to McDonald. He holds onto the footy, top of the 50. And unsure what to do with it next. And then he loads up and kicks it along the wing. It's Draper and Petty in it. Petty wanted the free kick. Umpire said no. It goes towards Caldwell, who draws it in. Tackle will be made. Tholstrop's in there as well. He tries to pull it out. Viney's in the mix too for the D. So is Chandler. In the end, it's Durham for the Bombers, who picks it up, sliding along the ground. He's tackled to the turf. We'll have a ball up at half forward for the Bombers, who are ahead by 7 points, 24 minutes played on ABC Sport.
Inside 50s, 14-12. The way of the Demons is Jack Viney from half-back. Kicks Melbourne in the middle of the ground. Ridley tries to keep it in front of him for the Bombers. Got it to Merritt. Quick hand pass to Caldwell. Couldn't get it to McGrath. Ball at ground level. The Demons are able to come up with a Bowie. Hand pass to Nilborn. Kicks up to Turner. Back with a flight. He marks it left half forward. He swings on his right-hand side. Fridge one-on-one inside 50. Getting back Dersma. Supports Ben Mackay. Gets it down. And Dersma gets the hand pass away to Nick Martin. To Guelphy at left half-back. A chip around the boundary line to Mackay. It goes across for a boundary throw-in. Right half forward for the Demons. The Bombers by 7 points. 3-3-21 to Melbourne 2-2-14. 25 minutes gone. Opening quarter on ABC Sport.
Essendon with a chance as well to make it into second spot if they can get the win tonight. Draper tries to tap the ball down. The umpire finds a free kick in the ruck contest, and it does go the way of Draper of the Bombers. So he'll get the free kick at left half back for Essendon, and he just hand passes behind him to Redmond, who calls for it and switches the footy along to the northern side of the MCG towards Heppel. Back into the side, he hand passes it to a running Redmond, who can outrun Van Rooyen, and then scrugs the kick along the ground towards Guelphy, who has to bend down to pick it up, can hand pass it back to Ridley, who'll go inside the 50 for the Bombers. Wright was there in a contest with McDonald. Both get hands to it. McDonald did well to push it off Wright, and it goes over the boundary line for a throw in about 45 metres out from Essendon's goal. The Bombers ahead by 7 points late in the first term.
Some big results today in the AFL. The Western Bulldogs winners over the Blues, Sydney over North Melbourne, and the Hawks over the Fremantle Dockers.
Who was that?
The Hawks.
Just checking.
Different side of what we saw down in Geelong last week. Sammy Durham drives it inside 50. It's out on the full. And Melbourne will take it in the left back pocket through Tom McDonald. Just shows you how even this season is, half. Just when you think you've got a gauge on a side, the Dockers fighting for top 4. James Sicily going forward and kicking 2 of his 3 goals in the final term.
Yeah, well, we saw that with the Bulldogs too today against Carlton. The game before at Marvel Stadium was Docklands. It was a big performance from them. So you're right, the season is unbelievably tight.
Stephen May works it up to Ed Langdon. He marks it right half back. Had a contract at season's end, the Demons wingman, as he drives a long kick around the Shane Warne stand side. Melcham worked his way to the front. Ben Mackay stood tall and takes the mark. The first-year Bomber as he comes into the middle of the ground for Nick Cox.
Cox marks just outside the 2 centre circles, and he flares it out wide towards Ridley, who's in some space, runs along the AFL logo and then kicks out wide to Cordwell. Marks at full stretch, and then he'll go inside the forward pocket looking for Stringer. It's over his head and it's out of bounds on the full.
It's the only space, though, where Essendon can attack at the moment, because Melbourne are really getting lots of numbers back, particularly through the corridor defensively, to try and stop any clean avenues to goal for the Bombers. So that's where the space is for the Bombers going forward. It's not very nice to have to deal with, because you've got to run to the boundary all the time and kick goals from the pocket.
Jake Lever then gets the free, kicks long to a pack. Van Rooyen's there, so's Petty. Petty drops the mark. Van Rooyen's there, luckily, to pick it up for him. He hand passes to Rivers, who was looking for Chandler. In the centre of the ground will be Essendon that it collect via Cox, who hand passes to Caldwell. Handballs across to Redmond, and he'll kick down to Ridley. Holding the footy just in front of the bench for the Bombers.
Sorry, Rivers handball. If that hits the player running forward, Melbourne are out inside 50, one-on-one. It's just a millimetres difference.
Chips the kick to McGrath, who takes a bounce and then centres a ball inside 50 for the Bombers. Stringer can't take the mark. He does the tackling, though. Ball still inside forward 50 for Essendon. Viney quickly gets a hand pass away. He won't be able to be picked up there by Moniz Wakefield, and then a long kick will come down and will be marked here by Melksham. So Melksham will hold on to the ball right in front of his Demons bench.
He's out to the right in his second game of 2024. Into the pocket looking for Fritsch. It clears him. At the back, Heppel under pressure as Fritsch lays the tackle. Pickett takes the advantage and curls through it on his right. In game 100, Cosy Pickett. And the Demons close the gap ahead of quarter time with the last 2 goals of the match. The Bombers by a point. 3-3-21 to Melbourne 3-2-20. 29 minutes gone, opening quarter on ABC Sport. Down to Rory Campbell on the boundary.
Guys, the Bombers doctors are keeping tabs on Zach Merritt. He was slow to get up from a contest a while back. The doctor headed out at a stoppage recently, had a bit of an eyeball, but didn't force him to come off, but obviously keeping tabs on him for a bit of a head knock.
That was really well worked from the D's from half back. They are able to, the positioning of the Bombers defenders had the extra numbers behind the ball, but they positioned corridor side, so if you could get the ball wide as that exit kick, which the D's did, to half forward, you are going to get your players to run back in and create one-on-ones. Ended up being a 2-on-2, and they got the ground level ball inside the forward 50, which put the Bombers defenders under pressure. They just set up poorly defensively with the structure there, the Essendon Footy Club.
We're looking to go again here. Revers hand pass to Viney, who could hand pass it across to Neil Bull, and it's picked up by Windsor. Inside 50, Melbourne go again. High ball in there. Ridley sitting back at the drop of the footy, takes the chest mark, and then tells his teammates just to slow things down a little bit as we edge towards the end of the first quarter. He sends a kick out wide to Martin, who drops it, but the final siren saves him. Or the final siren to mark the end of the first quarter. It was Essendon now just ahead by a point. So 3 goals apiece in that first quarter. Essendon 3-3-21, leading Melbourne 3-2-20. The goal kickers for Melbourne, Bailey Fritsch had the first goal of the night. Then Daniel Turner got one from outside 50, and then Cosy Pickett with another in his 100th game. And then for 100th game, sorry. And then Kyle Langford, Sam Durham and Xavier Dersma each with one for the Bombers.
At the Adelaide Oval, it's the Saints who hold the early advantage there, closing in on quarter time. 3-2-20 to the Crows, 2-1-13. Great to have your company on Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
Wimbledon 2024 on ABC Sport. Hear it live every night on the ABC Listen app. Just search for the tennis button.
Time to steady and pull this trigger.
Have you heard the latest AFL podcast from the ABC? Join myself, Catherine Murphy, and AFL legend Paul Roos as we discuss all the big storylines. Feed your footy obsession or just learn more about the game as we bring you all the latest news and analysis. Find the ABC AFL Daily Podcast on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Viney with collect, tries to snap it away, kicks a high skying ball. Moniz Wakefield punches it down, finds its way to Fritsch. He puts it on his boot to snap for the first goal of the game. Melbourne land land the first blow early. Here's Caldwell in the left forward pocket again. He decides to dish it off to Stringer, who's marked just inside the boundary line. He won't have a kick because he finds Xavier Dersma almost directly in front, 25 metres out. It's Dersma that finishes off for the Bombers and makes Melbourne pay.
Langdon back to Van Rooyen on the wing, kicks up towards Tholstrup. Back with the flight was Kelly. Didn't have eyes on the footy, gave away the free kick. And Tholstrup takes it, kicks up towards Turner, who leading out marks on his chest. He's right on 50 out to the right. Daniel Turner will need every metre he's got. He unloads with a long-range shot. He's comfortably got the journey, and through it goes. Into the pocket looking for Fridge. It clears him. At the back, careful under pressure as Fridge lays the tackle. Pickett takes the advantage and curls through it on his right. In game 100, Cosy Pickett.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
High stakes Saturday night from the MCG. A win tonight for the Bombers would see them jump to second on the AFL ladder. While for the Demons, a chance to move back inside the top 8. Matt Clinch and Lauren Borden call the action. Rory Campbell down on the boundary. Daniel Harford and Nathan Burke are your experts. The Bombers 3-3-21 to Melbourne 3-2-20. The Demons kick the first goal of the match, and the Bombers kick the next 3 before Melbourne steady with the next 2 before quarter time. Berkey and Half with their assessment on the opening term.
Well, Melbourne came out of the blocks steaming in that first 5 minutes. Their pressure was enormous. Every time the Bombers picked up the footy, they were all over them, and repeat entries inside 50. It was when that dropped off slightly and Essendon could get just a little bit of time and space for the footy. It just showed that their skills, their forward craft going forward, inside 50 marks are 6-1 in favour of the Bombers. They use the ball far better than the Demons do going inside 50, and when they're allowed time and space through the middle, I think they're going to be allowed to score heavily. But to Melbourne's credit, they picked up the intensity again, started to win a little bit of those 50-50 balls, and they've only taken 1 mark inside 50, and they don't look like that's going to be an avenue that's going to score highly. So I think it's getting it in there as fast as they possibly can. Let the little blokes like Pickett and the others go to work, and they might be able to kick a big enough score to actually win this game. But for me, for Melbourne, it's pressure. They have to make this a scrap. They can't afford to make this a pretty shootout either end. They have to bring the ugly heat. And for the Bombers, you've got to match that and then let your talent equal the hard work, and then you should be able to win this game.
Yeah, it's a fascinating matchup, Berkey. Just the way the teams, as you say, have tried to play, particularly that first quarter, clearly, because it's all we've seen so far. 30 uncontested marks for the Bombers. They had 129 last week, and they dismantled Collingwood with their uncontested marks last week. So I'd be keeping an eye on that if I was Simon Goodwin in the coach's box. So they're prepared to work the ball up a little bit and find space. As you said, 6 marks inside forward 50 is a good number, a good return in 1 quarter of footy. So that's a concern for the Demons. What I did like about the D's is that, as you rightly said, what they are trying to do seemingly is get the slingshot from behind centre with numbers up, committing 2 forwards to come up and play just in front of the ball or at the contest. So they've got 6-7 guys around the footy at any one time, and then slingshot forward and try and put some pressure on the Bombers' defence with quick ball movement. Even though they'll have 1 or 2 extra players behind it, if you can get it to their teammates' advantage or kick it on the ground out in front, that's when they're going to get their best opportunities under man ahead of the ball. So just fascinating way, the templates of how they want to play this game of footy, both teams. I'd be concerned if I was Simon Goodwin about their marks inside forward 50 stat. That's the big one for me in the first quarter. Bombers probably didn't make them pay as much as they could have, but from a Brad Scott perspective, that transition is going to be vital to have your positioning behind the ball correct. They got caught on the hop a couple of times. So fascinating byplay in the coach's box at the moment.
Yeah, Harrison Petty's just had the 1 handball, whereas Draper's had the 9 possessions. Clearances are only 9-8 in favour of the Bombers, so doing a good job there. But I want Harrison Petty to start getting his hand on the ball a little bit more around the ground. Keep
an eye on Clayton Oliver too. Played 15 minutes in that first quarter. That was it. He's starting the second quarter. He started on the bench in the first quarter. He's going to start the second quarter for the D's. Only had the 1 disposal in those 15 minutes, so we'll keep an eye on him and how the Demons use him tonight. That's an interesting start to the game for him.
Sam Draper had the 9 disposals, 9 clearances, 3 marks, and how many clearances did he have in the end?
3.
Draper had 3. As the second quarter is underway, the Bombers leading by a point. Here's Clayton Oliver on cue, trying to get a clearance. Ends up laying the tackle on Merritt. Spills out Cozzy Pickett's way, dodging and weaving. He gets it onto his right-hand side, kicks towards half forward. Langdon sliding forward, takes the mark. As the light rain falls here at the MCG, hand pass to Oliver, winds up from 52, fires on goal. Melcham trying to shepherd it through, just couldn't quite do so as Kelly got a touch onto it. And scores a level at 21 apiece through 30 seconds into the second quarter on ABC Sport.
Would have been an easy mark for Turner if he had just led forward.
The kick out comes straight back to Oliver, who chops it off, and he kicks inside 50. Mark there taken by Jake Melcham. And they made the Bombers pay on that kick out.
He led forward then, Melcham, didn't he? Is that a forward lead, Berkey?
I think the kick made him lead forward.
I know.
But Clayton Oliver comes streaming out of the middle, and Turner's just wrestling with his guy at the top of the goal square. Clayton Oliver wanted him to lead, but he didn't.
A lot of celebrations when Melcham kicked a couple of goals last week on his return for an ACL, and he misses this one from directly in front.
He got cute with that, Liz.
To
that
the
was a horrible shot.
He just tried to push it through and he's missed. So Melbourne ahead by 1 point, but it should have been 6.
Rory got a raincoat on down there.
Rory Campbell on the boundary. That rain just getting a little heavier, unfortunately.
It's graced us with its presence once again. It stayed away for the first quarter there. Hey guys, just at quarter time, Jake Stringer headed down the change rooms with the Essendon doctor. Didn't come out with any sort of strapping on. Started in the guts, so it looks to be all right, but obviously getting treated for something.
Stay dry, Rory.
Do my best.
Long kick is spoiled out of play from Mason Redmond. Looking for Nate Caddy on the wing. A throw in on the Shane stand side. Draper wins down the tap. So that's 11 hit outs for him. But straight to Rivers of Melbourne. Drives it inside 50. Melcham the target. Ridley didn't take the mark. A chance for the Demons as Chandler crumbs it superbly. And from the left forward pocket puts the Demons back in front. Melbourne by 7 points. 3-4-22. And make that 4-4-28 as the big screen updates to the Bombers. 3-3-21. The Demons with the opening goal of the second quarter through 2 minutes on ABC Sport.
Well, Harrison Petty may not have the possessions of Draper, but he's gone forward at the start of this second quarter, and Van Rooyen has taken the ruck spot. And that was a really good pick-up by Petty, and a sharp handball to the player running past, and a good snapshot from a short angle. So whether we're going to see, because Harrison Petty did the rucking for the whole of the first quarter, it might be just a case of, hey, let's take it in turns, and Draper hasn't really had a spell yet. Let's see if we can work him over.
In conditions like this, you're probably going to not get too much clean work out of the middle, so you might not need a dominant ruckman tonight with what's happening in the weather.
It's Van Rooyen who's been in the middle for the second quarter so far. It's tossed up in there, and it's Neil Bullen who can hand pass it across to Rivers. He'll send Melbourne inside 50 to a pack forming. Petty, who's now forward line, can't take the mark. A clearing kick goes out for the Bombers. It'll be chased after by Langdon, who's there, and he's battling away with Jones. Not able to take the mark either of them or gain control of the footy. It goes out of bounds, and we'll have a ball up between wing and half forward. The rain absolutely pelting down at the MCG.
Good luck, Rory.
Tossed back in. Van Rooyen and Draper again go at it. Just hacked away by Neil Bullen. He gets some distance into the forward pocket. It slides all the way along the ground and out of bounds, just a few metres around from the left behind post for Melbourne. They're now ahead by 7 points, early stages of this second term.
Zach Merritt playing forward for the Bombers at the moment too at the start of the second term. That's unusual, I reckon. Get your key playmakers around the footy. Conditions like this.
Daniel Harford with you on ABC Sport. Draper knocked it down, but straight to Oliver of Melbourne. Hand pass to Turner, going to shove. Umpire will ball it up. Trent Rivers up to 14 disposals, including 5 clearances.
Yeah, his star just keeps rising.
Had a career day last week, 29 and 7 clearances. Best ever.
Petty down to Pickett on the move. He runs into Mackay. There's nowhere to go. And the umpire will ball it up 25 metres out from Melbourne's goal at the city end of the MCG.
Ball tossed up. Petty doing the ruck work in the forward line for Melbourne. Durham can't get a foot on the ball as he tried to kick it out of the air. Then Turner picks it up and he's tackled by Mackay. And the umpire will go in to toss it up about 12 metres out from Melbourne's goal. Kicking towards the city end of the MCG. Petty just taps it up high. It'll be a shot at goal there from Rivers. Couldn't get it through the middle. So just to behind there for Melbourne. 8 points now the margin after 4.5 minutes played in the second term.
At the Adelaide Oval, the Saints hold a 3-point advantage, 3-3-21 to Adelaide 3-1-19. Coverage available on the ABC Listen app. Just click on the AFL Extra button as Nate Caddy looked to go aerial. Can't come down with the mark. Melbourne through May. Hand pass to Powie. He's dumped in a tackle by Gresham. And in greasy conditions, Nate Caddy, no fear of flying in the rain.
Magnificent.
Brad Scott said he's just banged down the door and forced his way into their best side. As Langdon for Melbourne gets a clearing kick up towards Cossie. Pickett can't take the mark. Quickly kicks it inside 50. Melcham sliding forward, gathers. Hand pass to Windsor. The speed as he kicks end over end. And through it goes. Caleb Windsor had a quiet first quarter, but making his presence known in the second. And the Demons are out by 14 points at game-high margin. After the Bombers led by 12 in the first quarter. The Demons 5-5-35 to the Bombers 3-3-21. Rivers in the middle of the ground. And now Caleb Windsor, the next generation of the Melbourne midfield.
And didn't you see the acceleration when he got that handball? He just broke away, gave himself 3 or 4 metres just to settle. Made a really good decision with that dribble kick in these conditions. All you got to do is get a straight start and it'll skid all the way through. That was brilliant. Great finish. But it's around the ball at the moment where they're absolutely mauling them in the second quarter of the D's. 9 contested possessions to 1, 6-0 clearances, 6 inside 50s to 0 as a result. It's been all Melbourne this second term. They're clean. They're very good.
Only 2 Essendon players have had a possession. Yeah. Ridley and Redmond.
The Bombers haven't scored this quarter. It's been all Melbourne as it's socked away through the middle by Perkins, who gets the Bombers to half forward. Langford just pushes it away with his hands and knees. Will get the free kick as well for in the back. So he kicks inside 50 for the Bombers. He's able to find a mark, and it's Zach Merritt who's there being pushed into the forward line, who holds on to the footy about 45 metres out from goal for the Bombers, but fairly close to the boundary line.
We're going to take a big kick from here in this rain.
It's bucketing down.
Just kept the seagulls away.
It's the only thing that works, it looks like.
Hard to see.
So Zach Merritt arcs around, puts it on his left boot, doesn't have nearly the distance. It'll just go up high and fall to a pack, bounces behind them all. Windsor can gather it cleanly and he shoves it on his boot. His kick goes just as high as Merritt's. Caddy goes up, can't take the mark, comes to ground. Caldwell's in there, he is tackled. Ball spills out, Perkins goes after it, then he does the tackling. No team able to pick it up cleanly here as Merritt tries to hand pass it away. Pickett meets him, then he goes after the footy. In the end, it's just Neil Bullen who does his best to soccer it out for Melbourne. In the pouring rain, Chandler going after it. He battles with Mackay for the footy. And it's Turner who wins it, then he's tackled in a rugby scrum before the umpire will come in and throw the ball up. So he'll take the footy to try and clean out this mess. It's Melbourne ahead by 14 points, 8 minutes played in the second.
They've had 5 scoring shots to none so far in this second quarter. As Draper kicks inside 50, but in front the mark is taken by Lever. Clunks it to his chest in front of Langford. Veers out to the right-hand side, kicks up to Van Rooyen. Takes the mark, centre wing on the members' side. Melbourne by 14 points, 8 minutes gone, second quarter on ABC Sport. Puts it out in front of Fridge. He tries to hug it to his chest. And Ben Mackay reaches over and spoils it out of play. Now, Rory, I'm happy to make a captain's call. If you are getting drenched there, feel free to come upstairs.
I might take you up on that, Clinchy. I'll head straight for the pie warmer.
It's all forms of courage, Rory.
Yeah, it is absolutely heaving down at the MCG now. There was the forecast of rain, but it wasn't meant to be this heavy. As it's thrown in, Draper got rid of Van Rooyen. He's able to shin a kick into the middle of the ground, which Martin races after. No clean disposal. Chandler, hand pass to Viney. He's tackled by 2 Bombers. They bring him to ground and a ball up in the middle of the MCG. The Demons by 14 points. 9 minutes gone. Second quarter, ABC Sport.
Taj Woden and Nick Hine, the subs for both sides tonight, both pretty familiar with that role as well, as Caldwell kicks it straight into the face of Draper. He then gets the ball back. He's tackled by 3 Demons, but it must have hurt him. He's got a little smile, but kicked straight in the face by his teammate with the footy. And now he's got to contest the ruck against Van Rooyen, and Van Rooyen tries to pick it up, hand passes it away in the Viney direction. He gets the hand pass from Oliver and then just kicks towards Pickett. At half forward for the D's, Pickett's got to run onto it, can knee it forward into the forward 50 for Melbourne. It's Ridley battling on the ground to try and gain possession of the footy, and the umpire will come and throw it up 40 metres out from Melbourne's goal.
If you were more of a speedy outside sort of a winger type player, but I used to love playing these conditions.
This is bread and butter for me, mate.
This is just fun footy.
When you run on the spot, this is the perfect condition.
Van Ryan under pressure from Perkins, spills out the way of Windsor, across his body for a second, it's rushed through. Dyson Heppel getting back, rushes it through for a minor score. It's all Melbourne so far in this second quarter, a 14-point lead, 7-2 with the inside 50 so far.
You don't have to be fancy, you've just got to get the ball going in your direction.
And the kick out comes from Heppel as he tries to do exactly that, long kick out towards Langford, who was standing next to McVie, and both couldn't gain possession of the footy, so we'll have a throw in at half back for the Bombers.
So Oliver had the one disposal in that first quarter, only played 15 minutes. He's at 5, leading all comers his second term, and hasn't left the ground yet. We've been going 14 minutes.
So tossed up, Draper gets one hand to it, and Jones can pick it up for Essendon, hand passes it away towards Perkins, who chases after it, keeps it in close to the boundary line, sends a long kick down the outer wing. Lever's tried to punch, in the end it's taken by McVie, who clears a kick right into the centre of the ground. It goes past Turner, he'll chase after it. Draper will beat him there. He just pushes it forward in the end. Inside defensive 50 for Essendon. Heppel's there. The hand pass from Dersma, but it's coming back.
Made a contact below the knees against Draper. For diving forward and hitting the ball away.
So Turner had to jump over Draper in the end, so it'll be a free kick to him at half forward for Melbourne, ahead by 15.
Got the boot in the head on the way through, Draper, from Disco Turner as well for his troubles.
There's the slippery fish all over again. Not as successful as it worked in Adelaide to win the game in the dying seconds. And, well, Daniel Turner has shown he is well within range from 50. He is directly in front. Sam Draper's right on the paint of 50. He veers out to the right, got very close to Draper. It's offline to the right. Won't have the journey. Mackay spoils it down. Dersma has to try and tap it over the boundary line, and the umpire says throw it in the wet and greasy conditions. 25 metres around from the Demons' goal at the city end of the MCG. Melbourne by 15 points on ABC Sport. Our man Ian Burrows on the boundary tonight. Game 402 for him as he throws it back into play. Draper gets rid of Turner. A high up and under kick to half back. Wright tries to make the contest. It clears to the back. Judd McVie for Melbourne. Hand pass chopped off by Merritt. Gets the hand pass to Nate Caddy. He can't hang on to it. And it goes out of play. Members' side. With the Demons leading by 15 points. 12 minutes gone second quarter. Matt Clinch and Warren Borden calling the action. Roy Campbell, the bravest of the members, on the boundary line in the wet. Daniel Harford and Nathan Burke, your experts.
Caddy and Wright are the two deepest forwards for the Bombers. When the ball hits the ground, I'm going to back in the Melbourne defenders over those two.
So in the ruck, Petty rose up, couldn't get a hand to it. Oliver gets a clearance. He kicks it straight to Shield, who quickly hurries a kick to half forward for Essendon, where Caddy can mark. He can spin around and go. Langford's there in a one-on-one. He goes up. He can't take the mark against McVie. He can gather, though. He doesn't want to go himself. He hand passes it across to Jones, who has a snap at the goals, and he slams it into the left behind post. So Essendon finally make it all the way down to their end, and just a minor score is the first score for the Bombers. It's Melbourne's lead now 14 points. Let's head down to Rory Campbell on the boundary.
The rain's just eased up a little bit, guys, which is certainly I'm thankful for. We just saw that goalpost when it was hit, just spray water everywhere when it hit the post, you said.
Thanks, Rory. Tom McDonough with a long kick for Melbourne up to the wing, but it's coming back. Gresham's hand pass missed the target. Langford for Melbourne. Hand pass out in front of Petty, who tries to knock it on, but Jones gathers. Swings onto his left-hand side, the Bomber, and his kick is out on the full. Tough in these greasy conditions. Looking to gain territory, but couldn't control it, and Christian Salem will take the mark. Out left half back. Turns and comes inboard to Clayton Oliver, not 15. Hand pass back to Bowie. He kicks to Salem. Still at left half back for the Demons.
Now they're telling us there's no clampdown on the no 15-metre kicking rule this week, and that's what they've told us. But there's no doubt there is, and I'm all for it. I'm here for that.
Yep.
The old rule of the week, if you're watching the footy on Friday night, is Salem's long kick around the Shane stand wing. Sam Draper's given away the free kick, a shove on Harrison Petty, who will take it centre wing.
It'll make a massive difference, I reckon. They get that rule right, the umpiring got that right, it'll make a big difference to the way the game flows.
So Petty kicks to the top of the 50, punched away by Heppel, then picked up by Wright. Hand pass to Shields, who goes back into defensive 50 for the Bombers. Dersma able to track it back, and then he hand passes behind him to Kelly, who handballs back to Dersma, and he's able to hand pass to Shields, who chooses to go to Redmond. He'll kick backwards, and Kelly will mark. So they'll slow things down here, the Bombers, after a string of hand passes. Didn't gain them any distance in the end. Kelly with the footy will kick from the paint of defensive 50. He goes down towards Wright, who rises up. Couldn't get a finger on the ball. it'll be Guelphy having a go at it. He can't get a kick on the ball. Then McVie goes after it. He's tackled, hand passes it away to Viney, who can pick it up. Hand pass it across to Bowie, straight at the interchange gates. He kicks a straight kick down and finds Sparrow. He goes inboard to Rivers. Centre wing for Melbourne. It's a little bit of an argument over the mark, but it's Wright who stands it in the end. It's Melbourne ahead by 14 points.
Rivers out to the right, drives Melbourne inside 50, looking for a flyer. Heppel makes the spoil from behind. Down to Perkins, kicks end over end up towards Peter Wright. Gathers it left half back, looks to put it out in front of Merritt, the captain for the Bombers. Perfectly positioned as he didn't have to break stride. And marks in front of Tom McDonald. Just holds him up by the front of the jumper. And then Merritt tries to kick off a step. Can't control it. You hear the Bronx cheers as it goes out of bounds on the full. Melbourne by 14 points, 16 minutes gone. Second quarter on ABC Sport. Stephen May comes inboard to Petty. Trent Rivers up to 16 disposals with Jordan Ridley with 14 for the Bombers. The next highest possession getter for the Demons is Judd McVie with 9. So 7 more disposals for Trent Rivers. As Ed Langdon has it in the left back pocket. Looks up the Shane Warne stand side. Sends it in the direction of Bailey Fritsch. It clears him. And also Mason Redmond, and off hands goes out of play for a throw-in. Demons by 14 points.
That's what I want to see Harrison Petty do. Not just be the long down the line, the traditional ruck, because it's wet and slippery. Anyone goes up against the ruck, it's going to bring the ball to the ground. Get involved in the play. Be that short target and switching the ball from one side of the ground to the other.
Right, tried to tap it down to Caldwell, still close to the boundary line. It's Langdon that can pick up, hand pass to Viney, hand pass it across to Rivers. He goes with a long hand pass again close to the boundary to Tholstrup, who can keep it in, and hand pass it across to Langdon, who put it on the boot this time. Through the fingers of Clayton Oliver, and out of bounds for a boundary throw-in. Centre wing outer side of the MCG in front of the Shane Warne stand.
There's a lot of high-fiving and things going on with Demons. I don't mind it in terms of they're up and about. I think they're really invested in this contest.
Durham soccers the footy along. McVie nearly picks it up, then overruns it, which allows Stringer to come in and hand pass it to Durham. Let's go with the slippery footy, but Caddy's in there to help. Can push it along to Stringer, just skies the ball up at half forward, seeing who can run onto it. Dersmer's there. He can get the footy. He can hand pass it to Shield. The Bombers now 40 metres out from goal. Martin can collect. He might turn around and have a kick a goal himself. That's what he does, and he goes for the Bombers. Their first goal of the second term comes from Nick Martin, and they reduce Melbourne's lead to 8 points. It's now Essendon 4-28, trailing Melbourne 5-6-36. Martin's goal breaking a string of 4 consecutive goals by the D's. It's nearly 18 minutes played in the second term. You're experts on ABC Sport, Nathan Burke and Daniel Harford.
And it wasn't necessarily, I don't think, by design. Jake Stringer got the ball at half forward outside the arc and then just kicked it into the corridor. I don't think there was too much science to it. But the outside players, the wide running players, the half forwards and the wingers were in the right spots, and it was a really good finish in the end from Martin, who had to just wheel around, as you said, Loz, and get it through the boot through the goals on his boot. But I just reckon it was a potluck performance from the Bombers to make that actually happen. Jake Stringer again getting the ball back in the corridor from wide.
Daniel Harford with you on ABC Sport. The Bombers' first goal since the 17-minute mark of the opening quarter. Viney gets the clearance to Melbourne, kicks up to half forward. Tholstrup trying to gather the greasy footy. He can't get a clean hand pass to Sparrow, and the ball goes out of play at right half forward.
So they've been totally outplayed this term, the Bombers. They found their groove to sort of wrestle back the momentum to a neutral position at the moment, but 9 inside 50s to 4, make that 10 for the D's in this quarter so far. They've had all the territory and all the momentum.
The Demons' pressure factor in that first quarter was around 175. It's been over 240 in this second quarter. As Neil Bullen, sliding on his backside, gets a hand pass to Windsor, kicks inside 50. McGrath can't hang onto the mark, then lays the tackle on Sparrow. Ball spills clear. Neil Bullen pokes it into the pocket. Melcham trying to protect space in front. Heppel slides in. He might have got him over the shoulder. And Jake Melcham in the right forward pocket. A chance to try and extend Melbourne's lead ahead of half-time. Is there much in that?
Seemed to be a heap from what I saw. Guys in Heppel's pretty perplexed.
Maybe just the left arm over the shoulder, a bit of holding. It's a tough night. As Melcham in his second game of 2024 opens up the angle. A superb finish on his left. Welcome back to Milkman. Kicked a couple last week in his return against the West Coast Eagles. Has been working as a coaching assistant with the Demons forward line, having had a little hip injury in his return from the ACL, and has been working in an 8-week period to get back into the AFL side, playing no VFL after 12 months out of footy. The Demons by 14 points, 6-6-42 to the Bombers 4-4-28. Melbourne with 3-1 in this second quarter through 20 minutes on ABC Sport.
Funny game, football. You can miss one from 15 metres out in a set shot, and then you snap one on your non-preferred foot or wet football and get it spinning around the corner. I think Dyson Happel, to be totally honest, was a little bit stiff there with that free kick. There wasn't a lot in it. The umpire paid a hold, but I'd like to see that one not paid, to be totally honest.
Viney from the middle tries to kick it. It looks like he's injured his right shoulder too as he went to get the footy. Neil Bullen sockers it forward to the right half forward. Martin goes after. He's taken in the tackle by Melksham, who's up and about after kicking that goal. Umpire says play on. The kick comes to Dursma, then Windsor tries to soccer it for Melbourne. McGrath picks it up for Essendon. He does whatever he can with it, hacks it. Moniz Wakefield picks it up for Melbourne. Inside 50, he sends the D's. The umpire's blown the whistle and found a free going the way of the Bombers and to Mackay.
Viney just standing up now, shrugging off the doctor. He got a stinger on that right shoulder, so we'll keep an eye on that. On a wet, heavy night like this, you don't want to be having a suspect shoulder.
Mackay chip to Caldwell, who went out wide with a kick to Kelly. Standing at right half back for the Bombers. Just chooses to chip it short again to Ridley. Essendon with just the one goal in this second term, 3 to Melbourne. As Ridley takes his time in urging his teammates to come. And former Packets centre wing, up they go, it's punched down. It'll be picked up there by Rivers, who hand passes over the top of his head. Caldwell goes after it. Hand passes it to Shields, who hand passes back towards Ridley, kicks out wide towards Jones, who's sliding as he takes the mark for the Bombers, who are still sitting at half back after all of that. It's 22 minutes played in the second term on ABC Sport. Melbourne ahead by 14.
23-year-old Harry Jones kicks as long as he can around the Shane Warne stand side. Up Guelphy, can't take the mark. Langford's hand pass to Merritt. Gives it back to Langford. Kicks up towards half forward. Peter right in front. Can't take the mark. Had the size mismatch on McVee. McVee's hand pass to Moniz Wakefield under enormous pressure. Pinched by McGrath. Merritt hand over Andy's shot on goal. Misses to the left-hand side. Zach Merritt trying to lift the Bombers. It's a 13-point lead the Demons' way at the 22-minute mark of the second quarter. Rory Campbell on the boundary.
Yeah, a bit going on down here, guys. Cosy Pickett's just getting some treatment for his finger. Clayton Oliver got some attention paid to his left lower leg, and Jai Caldwell for the Bombers was having some attention paid to his hip. So a bit going on, maybe this wet weather footy taking a toll.
Thanks, Rory. As a free kick paid to Dyson Heppel against Harry Petty. Heppel got it off to Martin, who was forced to go back to Heppel. This time he just shoves it on his boot to go long into the pocket. Mark can't be taken. It'll be coming out towards Moniz Wakefield of Melbourne, who sends a kick towards Petty. He takes it going back. And again, it's Heppel that maybe clips him a little late. But it was all fair as it's play on, hand pass to Viney. Hand pass across the Tholstrup. You can find Windsor, who's having a good game so far. Takes the bounce and then hand passes it out to Turner, who fires the handball over the top of his head towards Fritsch. Weaves his way out of the 50, then weaves back in. He puts a centering ball in the path of Rivers. Can't take the mark. On kneeling down, can hand pass it back to Chandler, who got it away to McDonald, who kicks it one bounce over the boundary line. And it'll be a throw-in inside the forward 50 for Melbourne. The D's ahead by 13 points, 23 minutes gone in the second term.
They got away with it. Bailey Fritsch ran around 5 Essendon defenders then, and they know he's a left footer. It's all he's ever going to do. It's very poor pressure from the Bombers on that occasion.
Saints by 3 points at the Adelaide Oval. Thrown in. Melbourne deep in attack. Langford. Hand pass to Chandler. Slipped over. Hand pass back to Langford. And Dyson Heppel takes it out of play. A throw in the left forward pocket for the Demons. 24 minutes gone. The Demons by 13 points. Rory Campbell.
Yeah, Jack Viney off on the bench now, guys. The doctors weren't straight up to him, but he kind of brushed them off again. So, yeah, it doesn't look like he's too concerned about any injuries suffering in that shoulder.
Thanks, Rory. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Cox wins down the tap for the Bombers. Sliding over Jones. Gets a hand pass forward. Caldwell lost it. Bowie's hand pass to Melbourne. Picked up by Harry Jones. Tackled by Tholstrup when he didn't have the footy. A clearing kick. Judd McVee's underneath it. He gathers for Melbourne. Can work it back to Stephen May. Back to McVee. Your problem now. Swings on his right. Kicks up towards half forward. McGrath couldn't take it cleanly. Fritsch can. Lost the footy in the process. Ridley almost dragged down. Hand pass to Gresham to Shield.
And She'll move it now right through the centre of the MCG. He picks off Stringer, who takes the mark. He's got some room to go, and that's what he does. It's a flat kick inside 50, and of everyone, he picks off Stephen May. Didn't go near Langford, who was its intended target.
Not quite sure what Jakey was trying to do then, apart from kick the ball straight to Melbourne.
And via Langdon, Melbourne have worked the ball to centre wing, where Van Rooyen's taken the mark.
Novak Djokovic just been offended by that. Those tennis fans will get that joke.
So Van Rooyen kicks to the half-forward line. And then it's Heppel who can pick it up and hand pass it away towards Wright, who's tackled by Langdon. Kelly can pick it up, hand pass to Mackay, who hand passes it away towards Gresham, flicks it across to Durham, who's running now. The Bombers trying to make a move here. It bounces its way to Stringer, who can hand pass to Merritt. He'll handball inside 50, just into some space. Guelphy was there. In the end, he has to do the tackling on Lever. Ball spills out the back. Here's Shield. He can have a kick at the goals. It doesn't go any further than Saylor, who's sitting back right at the top of the goal square to intercept the mark for Melbourne, and he'll chip it off to the left back pocket where he finds Jake Bowie, with Melbourne ahead by 13 points.
Well done by Stephen May there, just coming up into that contest, forcing the scrap kick inside forward 50, which was marked by Salem.
Gave it to Jacob Van Rooyen, kicks long around the Shane Warne stand side. Petty can't take the mark, spills out to Langdon for Melbourne, hand pass to Neil Bullen. He drives a kick up towards Turner, arms out in front, can't take the mark. In front of Ridley, he does gather though. Hand pass away to Neil Bullen, scrubs a kick up to half forward, where Heppel's able to gather for the Bombers. Hand pass to Sam Durham, looks up towards half forward, kicks to Langford, juggling the mark, can't hang on, and Lever gathers for Melbourne. Has support with Stephen May, fires a hand pass back to him. McVeigh had a little fumble and then gave it back to May, kicks up towards Lever, spoiled away by Langford, and it's Gresham who switches to the Shane Warne stand side, buys some time and finds Dersma, who can loop a hand pass over the top to Cox.
Cox nearly slips over, keeps his feet in the end and kicks to the top of the 50. Stringer brings it down to ground, and then May can pick it up though for Melbourne. Kicks it out wide to Langdon, who with a steadying hand tells his team just to relax a little bit as he holds onto the footy at half back. Just chips forward towards Oliver, who's standing next to two of his teammates. And he takes the mark. Moniz, Wakefield and Rivers spread themselves around as Oliver taps the ball on the ground in these wet conditions and then kicks it down towards a pack where Mackay tries to mark, can't take it. Tholstrup has a go at it. It's spoiled. Martin goes in for the Bombers and he's tackled by two Ds. So we'll have a ball up between wing and half forward for Melbourne, who are kicking towards the Ponsford end of the MCG. The rain cleared at the moment. As the ball's tossed up, it comes to ground. Neil Bullen pulls it in. Bombers putting their arms up to hope for the free kick. The umpire just says play on and holds his whistle, puts it away. All players are waiting for him to blow it. And he finally comes in and says, I'll throw this up now. So after a delay, it will be a ball up on the outer side of the ground.
Petty wins down the tap for the Demons. Down low Caldwell. Can't get a clear hand pass away as Sparrow's locked up between wing and half forward for the Demons. Melbourne by 13 points. 28 minutes gone, second quarter on ABC Sport. Ed Langdon for the Demons. Hand pass to Salem, off balance as he kicks up towards Tholstrup. It's knocked away by Andy McGrath. And the ball goes out of play. A little bit between Tholstrup and Xavier Dersma as the ball's ready to be thrown back into play. Left half forward for the Demons. The rain has eased for the moment, but it's been a tough opening half for both sides as it's thrown back in. Petty and Cox. Petty knocks it down to the front. Dersma can't get a disposal away. Spills to Gresham. Gets the hand pass away to Durham. Kicks long towards Stringer. Can't take the mark. Trying to fend off McVeigh, who got him in the end and wins the free kick. Took 3 attempts to drag him down, but the Melbourne defender wins the footy at left half back.
He's giving away a little bit of size, McVeigh, but he's had some good wins against bigger opponents, even against Peter Wright down there the last time the two of them were matched up against each other, so holding his own.
So McVeigh chipped to May, who chipped forward to Bowie, who gets it back to McVeigh, and he just kicks it forward towards Oliver. So all little 15-metre chip kicks before Oliver goes long all the way to half forward. A pack forms, Turner goes up, can't take the mark. Then it's a hand pass from Fritsch, who goes in the Turner direction. Martin comes in to tackle him and holds on to him. It spills out the back, though, and there'll be a kick coming from Rivers. Inside 50 for Melbourne. Punched away, back outside of the 50. Picked up by Durham. He shoves a long kick all the way down to Jake Stringer, who's standing between wing and half forward. He's got no one ahead of him, though, Stringer. So he just has to wait for the stream that comes ahead. As the siren sounds, Stringer will have a shot from 75 metres out, maybe. It's not bad, though, and May had to kill the ball over. He was the only defender sitting back there for Melbourne. So he stops any score being had after the siren. At half-time, it's Melbourne 6-6-42, leading Essendon 4-5-29, having turned a 1-point deficit at quarter-time into a 13-point advantage, kicking 3-1 in the second term. Goal kickers for Melbourne so far tonight, all singles to Windsor, Melksham, Fritsch, Pickett, Chandler and Turner. While for the Bombers, it's Langford, Durham, Dersma and Martin who have got their names on the scoreboard.
Half-time at the MCG, the Demons by 13 points. Meanwhile, at the Adelaide Oval, the Crows have found their way to the lead. They lead by 3 points, closing in on half-time against the Saints. Daniel Harford and Nathan Burke, your experts on ABC Sport.
Well, Melbourne, outstanding that quarter, and I think if this had been drier conditions, probably would have been further ahead on the scoreboard. It's really just the scrap that's keeping the Bombers in it. We said at quarter time, Essendon had taken 6 marks inside forward 50, only the one that quarter, and that was taken by Zach Merritt. I think the Melbourne defenders organised themselves so much better than what they did in that first quarter, and every time it came in it was almost advantaged them because they had extra numbers there because they'd positioned themselves so well around the ground. Melbourne are winning their handballs in that quarter 46-35. You probably think with all that rain you don't want to over handball the ball, but it wasn't because they were overdoing the ball, it was because they had more numbers around the contest. So whenever the ball fell or it just sort of spread a little bit out of a stoppage, it was the Melbourne players getting there, and whoever had their head over the footy always had 1 or 2 players to give the ball to. And it just shows that they were working hard up to that contest, and in the end, whether it was just a scrap kick, the ball was going their way. Out of a scrap, the ball would go their way, and the Bombers had to try and launch something from the half-back line, and in these conditions that's really, really tough to do. So to me it was Melbourne's organisation behind the footy, and it was also their willingness to work around the contest and get numbers there that were better than Essendon in both of those areas, and that's why they dominated that quarter half.
Yeah, they flipped the system, I reckon, Burke, at quarter time, and just the way they played was Essendon plus 27 uncontested possessions in the first quarter. Melbourne that quarter plus 17, so they had more of the ball. As a result of more numbers to the footy, I reckon, plus 3 centre clearance, plus 12 uncontested marks. The Bombers were kept to 11 uncontested marks that quarter, which I think is significant, and Melbourne were plus 11 in contested possessions. So more numbers at the footy, more chance to win that hard ball, more ability to get uncontested possession. If you can win that first possession and fan out, which they did a few times, and they hit the scoreboard really well through that second term, 3-1. So I reckon they just changed the way they played a bit, and with the conditions that were out there, it's not a nice night to play neat footy. You've got to grind and just surge the ball a bit and just use the free play when you see them, not try and make too much stuff up. And perhaps in the first quarter they were trying to do that, and it didn't quite work out for them. But I reckon that second quarter showed that if they can keep that system and keep the Bombers on the chain a bit with their uncontested marks, they'll give themselves every chance to win this game of footy tonight. They've done a great job. Rivers has been fantastic. He's had 19 at half-time. Langdon on that wing with 18. And I reckon the defenders, you're right, picked up a really good point. I reckon they defended their life in that last 10 minutes of the quarter. Their system won the 10 minutes for them. They had some really good one-on-one wins, but I had to work pretty hard because the Bombers did change momentum in that back end of the quarter but weren't able to hit the scoreboard. So from Simon Goodwin, I'm pretty happy with that quarter and turned the game around. Brad Scott, I reckon, his use of Zach Merritt's interesting. Played half forward for a lot that quarter. I don't quite understand that in these conditions. Get your guy, your best guy, winning the footy somewhere around the footy. They've got to win possession at the source again and start to make a bit of a dent in this lead in the third term.
The hit-outs, the way the Bombers 22-12. Yeah, Melbourne lead the clearances by 2. And the Demons back to their contested best, leading the contested possession 73-62. Yet the marks inside 50 the way of the Bombers 7-2, and the tackles inside 50 the way of the Demons 8-3. So sort of contrasting styles, and in the conditions, it sort of feels like Melbourne have been able to capitalise on their opportunities in front of goal.
They have, and it's not their tall players, it's their small players that are looking really dangerous. I think the first part of that quarter, Cosy Pickett was really dangerous. It sort of faded out in that second half of the quarter, but you get the sense that give him half a chance, he could be the player that could rip this game open for the D's and really put it beyond doubt. But for the Bombers, their small forward, like Guelphy's had one kick, 4 handballs, and that kick didn't hit its target. Who else is their small forward? I'd be Gresham, so 2 and 5, and only one of those has hit the target. I think this is a game where you've got to get one of the big fellas off, either Caddy or Wright, or even Nick Cox. He's their backup ruck at the moment. He's playing on the wing and the ruck. I just somehow think that the infatuation of having a 200-centimetre wingman is more important than what he actually puts out for the team.
Yeah.
It's not quite there. So you've got to get one of those guys off, because this is a perfect game for Nick Hind. He would love these conditions. Yeah. You've got to get him on the ground.
And that's sort of the position that the Bombers sort of lack a little bit. So you wonder whether Zach Merritt is trying to bring that pressure in the forward 50, given Melbourne is so organised with Stephen May and Jake Lever. And
find someone else, Clinchy.
Yeah.
Find someone else. He's your captain, he's your leader, he's just not only spiritual but physical leader as well. And on the back of what he did last week, you've got to throw him into the meat of this and let him have his moment, let him try and dig the Bombers out of the way they've played in that second term. You've got to find someone else. He's way too valuable to be playing that role. I reckon it's a great point, though. We talk coming into the game about the Max Gawnless Demons and what that might mean for them. A night like this, probably not going to mean a hell of a lot. And if the Essendon have gone in a bit top heavy in that regard, maybe it's a switch that needs to be flicked from Brad Scott and get Nick Hind into this game, who played 3 minutes last week or 4 minutes last week. He'll be flat with the world anyway. He's sitting there with his sub T-shirt on at the moment. So get him into the game and get some dash into the Bombers' attack.
Yeah, if I'm a Melbourne defender, who am I more worried about in these conditions? A Nick Hind or a Caddy or a Peter Wright?
Yeah, or Nick Cox.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's the one I would be looking at bringing out of the game at some stage pretty soon.
Decided to not go with the two rucks tonight, Draper and Goldstein, and yet they're already a tall lineup with Caddy, Jones, Peter Wright. I wonder whether Brad Scott might pull Jake String and just decide to say, mate, when there's no one inside forward 50, just buy a bit more time rather than maybe for going for goal from 75 metres out. The Demons by 13 points at half-time, while it's the Crows who are able to take the lead at half-time at the Adelaide Oval. Adelaide 5-5-35 to the Saints 4-7-31, with individual goals the way of Keys, Fogarty, Scholl, Murphy and Himmelberg for the Adelaide Crows. Meanwhile, for the Saints, who led for large parts of that first half, 2 to Sharman, 2 to Wood, the goal kickers for the Saints. Adelaide by 4 points at the Adelaide Oval. We'll pause for the moment from the MCG and get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News with Sally Ann Young. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has called on Russia to stop interfering in the domestic affairs of other nations. 40-year-old Kira Kololev and her 62-year-old husband Igor were arrested in Brisbane on Friday and charged with preparing an act of espionage. Russia's embassy in Canberra has accused the Australian government of trying to stoke anti-Russian sentiment. But Mr Albanese says Russia has lost all credibility.
How about you try to stop interfering in domestic affairs of other sovereign nations? This is a country that has no respect for international law, and they should be regarded with contempt, which is what I have for them.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says any corrupt behaviour within the construction, forestry and maritime union should be stamped out. Mr Albanese's comments come amid allegations published in 9 newspapers today that criminals and bikies acting as CFMEU delegates have been employed on state and federal government-funded projects.
Trade unions exist to look after workers, to look after their wages and conditions and health and safety. They don't exist to engage in the sort of conduct that has clearly been engaged with. It should be condemned, it should be isolated, should be stamped out.
The CFMEU says it will not be commenting on the claims until next week. A Victorian government spokesperson says the allegations need to be investigated. Firefighters have contained a blaze in southern Sydney's storage unit after it burnt out of control for more than 12 hours. There are no reports of injuries, but owners remain uncertain of the damage to their goods. A spokesperson for Fire and Rescue New South Wales says they haven't been able to go inside and assess the cause of the fire.
It's too unsafe to send firefighters inside because of the pending wall collapse. So we actually have a remote pilot aircraft system that is allowed to fly inside a building, and that will be used to give us an assessment of the damage inside the building, and it'll assist with the engineers in determining whether it's safe to enter.
Overseas, US President Joe Biden has hit out at his critics at a campaign rally in Michigan amid growing calls for him to step aside. The Democrat has faced intense scrutiny after a series of high-profile gaffes in recent weeks. But in a fiery rally, President Biden has told supporters that he isn't backing down and can beat Donald Trump in November's election.
Donald Trump has gotten a free pass. He hadn't done a damn thing till a couple of days ago. He'd been riding around his golf cart in his course, filling out his scorecard before he picks up his club.
US actor Alec Baldwin broke down in tears as a judge dismissed the involuntary manslaughter case against him for the fatal shooting of cinematographer Helena Hutchins on the set of the film Rust. The BBC's David Willis has the details.
Alec Baldwin is highly unlikely to see the inside of a criminal court again over this shooting. He could still face civil suits, but this is something, of course, that's been hanging over him for nearly 3 years. And his reaction was immediate. He cupped his face in his hands. He wept before being embraced by his lawyers and then his wife. And he was facing, of course, the possibility of 18 months in jail if he'd been found guilty. And his lawyers, though, had long based their case on discrediting the police investigation.
Billionaire Elon Musk claims Brussels is censoring free speech after the European Union accused his social media firm X of breaching online content rules. X potentially faces large fines after regulators says its blue tick system for users is deceptive and in breach of its landmark social media rules. The EU Commission spokesperson Thomas Renier says X is potentially deceiving users into thinking accounts with the tick next to their name are verified, when in fact anyone can pay for the symbol.
The blue check marks or account verification on X must not influence or manipulate users. Authenticity must therefore be verifiable and comply with regulations on digital services. Based on our preliminary analysis, this does not appear to be the case.
And the renowned radio presenter Ron E. Sparks has died at the age of 72. He began working in the radio in 1970s for 2SM. His career then led him to Triple M, Today FM and later to WSFM. He also appeared on TV programs, guest hosting Countdown and providing the voiceover for game show Wheel of Fortune. ABC News.
The road to an Olympics or Paralympics is rarely straightforward. It's filled with pain, pressure and expectations.
The gold is always on my mind.
For me to go to the Olympics would be everything.
Being able to bring home the first ever gold for Australia would be a very, very proud moment for me.
ABC Sports documentary Countdown to Paris follows 5 Australian athletes in their quest to make it to Paris 2024.
I knew straight away that qualifying for Paris was what I wanted to do.
The desire to make an Olympics never goes away.
Countdown to Paris is available to watch now on ABC iView and the ABC News In-Depth channel on YouTube.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Draper wins down the tap, so that's 11 hit-outs for him, but straight to Rivers at Melbourne. Drives it inside 50, Melcham the target. Ridley didn't take the mark. A chance for the Demons as Chandler crosses it superbly. And from the left forward pocket puts the Demons back in front. Langdon for Melbourne gets a clearing kick up towards Cossie. Pickett can't take the mark. Quickly kicks it inside 50. Melcham sliding forward, gathers. Handmaster Windsor, the speed as he kicks end over end, and through it goes. Caleb Windsor.
Dursman's there. He can get the footy. He can hand pass it to Shield. The Bombers now 40 metres out from goal. Martin can collect. He might turn around and have a kick a goal himself. That's what he does, and he goes for the Bombers. Their first goal of the second term. comes from Nick Martin.
Neil Bullen pokes into the pocket. Melcham trying to protect space in front. Heppel slides in. He might have got him over the shoulder. And Jake Melcham in the right forward pocket. A chance to try and extend Melbourne's lead ahead of half-time. Melcham in his second game of 2024 opens up the angle. A superb finish on his left.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Highlights of the second quarter as heard on ABC Sport. It's the Demons who lead 6-6-42 to the Bombers 4-5-29 after 3 goals to 1 in that second quarter. Matt Clinch and Lauren Borden calling the action. Rory Campbell's down on the boundary. Daniel Harford and Nathan Burke are your experts. Now, if you're trying to follow both games tonight with the Demons leading by 13 points and the Crows leading by 4, you can log on to the ABC website. We've got Kyle Pollard here tonight who's helping out with the blog, so abc.net.au/sport. It's a great way to try and follow both games at the same time, but there is so much sport taking place across the weekend. The winners so far today, the Hawks, 13-point winners over the Fremantle Dockers. 5 goals to 1 in the final term in which James Sicily went forward and kicked 2 of his 3 goals of the match. 13-9-87 to the Dockers, 10-14-75. So the Hawks still in touch with the top 8, just percentage outside. Sydney had a big win over North Melbourne, 20-18-138 to the Roos, 9-5-59. And the Western Bulldogs spoiled Patrick Cripps' 200th match. A 14-point victory, 14-16-100 to the Blues, 12-14-86. So believe what you see most recently in this crazy season of the AFL. Now tonight, you mentioned the tennis. Well, it's ladies' finals night tonight from Wimbledon. So if you've got coverage of the ABC on the digital channels on your way home, you can just flick that on and you'll be taken to the grass of Wimbledon and to hear the final of Barbora Krejcikova.
Who is it?
Barbora Krejcikova.
We're barracking for anyone named Barbora, aren't we?
I think so. Although Jasmine Paolini is a little pocket rocket, the Italian, who at 28 years of age is having the year of her life.
Is she ever?
So full credit to her.
They're doing well, the Italians, in the world of tennis at the moment, aren't they?
Absolutely. Yeah. So coverage tonight on the ABC Listen app and via ABC Sport Digital. We'll also bring you coverage of the Euros final on Monday morning between England and Spain. This is right in your time zone, half for those in breakfast radio land. Thanks to our friends at the BBC. So you can listen on ABC Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app from around 4:32 in the morning on Monday morning.
I'll be up.
England and Spain. Of course, England haven't won a major trophy for yonks.
Yonks, that's right.
Yonks.
Got the final last time out the Euros, couldn't quite get it done. Back again, and that was on home soil. Back again this time in Germany. I'm on Spain. They've been the better team through the tournament. Not just because it's England, but I would like to see them get beat. Don't get me wrong. But they haven't been very good. Like, they're through the final. They haven't actually been very good.
You're sounding like you're English right now and all their supporters.
No, but they haven't. Like, it's been quite a phenomenal run to do what they've done through and not play very well.
Can you imagine being Gareth Southgate, who has been booed and jeered for the way in which they played? Now all of a sudden the King is involved following England's form in the Euros, and they've come from behind in their last 3 matches, and everyone's swept up in this magic carpet ride, which if they're successful, God help us. We'll be hearing about it for years. They did lose the Women's World Cup final, of course, to Spain as well. So they have that history of being bridesmaids. If there wasn't enough sport taking place, Tour de France is also on tonight, and the Wallabies are in action. We've also got coverage of that on the ABC Listen app. So it's all there for you. If you haven't done already, just download it on your smart device and look for the ABC Sport channels. We've got the AFL, we've got the NRL, we've got the tennis Grand Slams at the moment, and we also have the Euros on Monday morning. The teams have made their way back out onto the MCG. So the stage is set for a pretty intriguing second half. Melbourne have done just about everything right in the wet and greasy conditions. You just wonder with the rain easing a little bit whether that might play into the Bombers' favour. How do you see the second half unfolding?
Yeah, well, who knows, really, to be totally honest. The question is, and we were talking about earlier, can Melbourne maintain the pressure? If they try to get a little bit too cute and don't bring that immense pressure, well, then the Bombers will get back into this game. For the Bombers, to me, I don't think being hard, physical, tough, pressurised is the natural inclination of a lot of their players. And that's not being critical, that's just the way that they play the game. And it's what's needed in these conditions today. So when the Bombers, and we've seen it throughout this season so far, they're really good performances where they've had great games, and they have, it's been on the back of immense pressure. They've really up the pressure, and then their talent has actually come to the fore as well. I want to see them, if I'm Brad Scott, I'm talking about that pressure. They have to pressure the absolute you-know-what out of Melbourne, get the ball going their way, keep some players home, rejig a couple of things around who plays where, and they can easily get back into this game. So it's really up for grabs, Huff.
Yeah, it is. It's but delicately poised, which is what you want at half-time of any game of footy. And the Bombers have got some firepower forward if they can play more dry weather conditions. But as you rightly say, I think it's a great point. They've got to be really tough around the ball and around the contest, because the D's are that. They've got guys in there that are prepared to work really hard. Viney's obviously the standout. Oliver's very, very capable in that regard. Pickett comes through at pace and wants to hit bodies. They've got enough around the ball that can get it done. Little O'Neill, Bullen and Sparrow, those sort of guys. The challenge is going to be doing it this second half for the Bombers.
So it's Melbourne ahead by 13 points as we start the second half. Pickett in the middle can gather and hand pass to Viney. He gets it back from Viney. Puts it on his boot straight to Clayton Oliver, who marks just forward of the centre circles. Melbourne looking to do some damage early with the first clearance as he goes out wide towards Windsor, who holds onto the grab ahead of Cox. Right on the paint of 50.
I expect Nick Cox to do better then if Essendon are going to come out firing and play faster.
So Windsor wheels around. It comes off his boot high. It'll go up. Could be a mark here for Essendon. Not quite punched down. Langdon can pick it up and hand pass it away to Oliver, who's kept charging through in the Jones direction. Gets tackled by him, but can get a hand pass away. Viney charges in. He can't get a clean possession. In the end, it's Caldwell who can hand pass to Jones, who clears Essendon out of defensive 50. It was just a long clearing kick. May can collect, and he'll hand pass to Van Rooyen, and Van Rooyen will hand pass back to May.
Comes inboard to Jake Lever, who marks on his chest between wing and half forward. On the Shane Warne stand side, Melbourne by 13 points. On ABC Sport, Lever drives it inside 50. Petty up against a couple. Draper in front, couldn't hang on.
Played it.
Had it long enough as Tom Sparrow tried to fire on goal. No 50. Sam Draper will get the free kick 15 metres out from his defensive goal at the punt road end.
I think Simon Goodwin has figured out that Van Rooyen is a better option in the ruck and Petty up forward in these conditions.
Almost playing as sort of a defensive ruck behind the ball as Draper short to Ridley. Kicks up towards half-back. Cox trying to use his size. Can't take the mark and offhand. It goes out of play. Plenty of ponchos below us, but for the moment the wet weather has cleared. The MCG drains so well, so no surface water down there. As the ball is thrown back into play, Van Rooyen using his strength up against Draper, palms it down to the front, spills out the way of Windsor, shovels a hand pass forward to Viney, under pressure, can't control it, as it goes over the boundary line, out of bounds on the full. The Bombers are taking it right half back, Melbourne by 13, 2 minutes gone, third quarter on ABC Sport.
Pleased to see Zach Merritt back on ball at the start of this quarter for the Bombers as well.
So Jake Kelly takes the free, goes towards Draper, two hands knocked out of it by Van Rooyen, who's tackled by Caldwell, so Draper can collect it, can just get a hand pass away. It's McDonald who clears the kick away from Melbourne, though in the Melksham direction. At the top of the 50, Martin comes in for Essendon, he's able to clear it all the way to the outer side to the MCG, to Harry Jones, who can mark. Jones will chip it forward in the direction of Guelphy. He'll edge it forward again towards Stringer, who can take the mark between wing and half forward for the Bombers. So Stringer with the footy, a couple of kicks from goal. He'll go inside 50 here. He'll be going into a pack and will be able to be marked by Perkins. So he picked Perkins off, who holds onto the mark, and now he can have a set shot from directly in front for a goal the Bombers need as they trail by 13 points.
I was watching Perkins in that phase of play. He didn't actually know he was going to get the ball. Jake Stringer wanted him to get the ball all the way through and keep it to a spot where he would have to lead to, but he actually wasn't moving towards the ball with any great urgency at any stage until the last couple of metres. Largely influential tonight. This would be helpful.
So Archie Perkins makes his approach, kick from directly in front. The kick was shocking off the boot, and he doesn't give the Bombers the start they wanted. It's just a minor score. And Melbourne's lead now 2 straight goals.
It's brought back into play by McPhee to Stephen May, up to Van Rooyen, who tried to fly on the shoulders of Sam Draper. Now becomes the tackler. And Draper has the footy hugged to him. A ball up out right half forward for the Bombers. Thrown in the air, Van Rooyen wrestles with Draper, spills down to Cox. He kicks off the outside of the boot, straight to the boundary line, out of bounds on the full. Stephen May will take it at left half back. Melbourne by 12 points. Matt Clinch and Lauren Borden call the action. Daniel Harford and Nathan Burke, your experts, with Rory Campbell on the boundary. And the Adelaide over the Crows by 4 points. Early stages of the third there.
So May's kick in the Petty direction. He rises highest over the pack but can't take the mark. Allows Shield to come in, go inside 50. Caddy flies. He can't take the mark. It'll be play on. Everyone stopped thinking it might have been a free kick to Caddy, but McVee has it and he chips it across goals to Bowie, who goes with a two-handed bounce, then kicks outside of 50. He finds Sparrow, who marks it right half back from Melbourne, calling his teammates to come towards him. Oliver's screaming for the footy, but he's too short and Sparrow wants to go longer. So we'll drive the kick down. There's a 1-on-2. It was towards Melksham, but Cully and Mackay work the ball over the boundary line, where we'll have a throw-in between wing and half-forward. Melbourne ahead by 12.
Sparrow's one midfielder who can have a bit of a lift for the Demons. Only had that 5 possessions in that first half, and at his size, he needs to get more involved in this game.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. Thrown in. Draper knocks it to the front. Trying to get it to Caldwell. Viney tackled, lost it. Shield kicks up towards Stringer. Almost pulled in the one-handed mark. Hand pass around McVee. Gets it forward to Caddy. Great work by Stringer into the pocket. Langford's on. And he takes them out. No, counted into by Tom McDonald. No whistle. As McDonald clears out towards May. Merritt tries to slide in. And here the Bombers fans at the MCG. And to the naked eye, that looked like that was a free kick.
Oh, no, I love it. That's good defending.
It's actually a really good call. He didn't get him high, and he rolled over him when he landed on the ground. It's actually the right call.
Did he fall on his back?
No.
He
rolled past him.
Braced himself.
Yeah, I reckon it's brilliant defending.
So the umpire tosses it in now, and it's Van Rooyen who picks it out of the ruck and shoves it on his boot. It goes down the line to Mackay, who chops it off for the Bombers. And almost every player on the ground is ahead of him, except Mason Redmond. So he goes back to Redmond, who then kicks forward to Martin, standing at half forward for the Bombers. Holds onto the footy and chips it out wide to Cully. 55 metres out from goal. Viney comes to stand the mark. And then Cully pops it up into a hot spot. It's a packed inside 50. Draper comes charging in. He can't take the mark. Then he tackles Salem. Just gets it onto his boot towards Tholstrup, who shoves it on his foot. And it's Mackay back there, tracking back to take another intercept mark. Mackay holds on to the footy for the Bombers. And then he kicks backwards towards Ridley.
He sends it out to Andy McGrath. He marks on the Shane Warne stand side. Chip it over the top to the hard-running Dylan Shield. He looks inside 50. Stringer the target against 2. Offhands it spills to Langford. Perkins run down. Great chase by Salem. And the clearing kick for the Demons. Out of bounds on the full. Stephen May went straight to the boundary but over-kicked it.
They're under the pump here, the Demons. The Bombers have come out firing, playing some good sort of dry weather football, maintaining possession. It's just his kick inside 50 that's the worry.
Zach Merritt tries to poke it to Stringer. He's outnumbered. It's spoiled down to the front. And Langdon for Melbourne clears up towards the wing. Petty knocked it away from Ridley. The Bombers have the numbers. Mackay gathers on the wing. Hand pass to Shield. Hand pass back to Andy McGrath. Works it back to Ridley. Hand pass around the boundary line to Shield. Just happy to control the tempo. He drives it long up towards Stringer. Worked out to Nathan. And a great mark from Judd McVee.
Been good tonight.
A 20-year-old who a lot of players, people wouldn't recognise apart from Demons fans.
So his debut last year, round 1, and he's played every game since as he kicks long down the wing. And here's Mackay, who's taken his 3rd intercept mark in as many minutes. And then he chips back towards Martin. So again, just playing with the footy, possession footy.
Someone's not happy downstairs.
Is that Rory?
So a few Essendon fans not happy with the slow play as they slowly move it to Perkins, who's got it just at the interchange gate, switched across to the northern side of the MCG, kicks down in the Caddy direction, and it's seen over the boundary line for a throw-in. So a little bit of distance gained.
I'm with Berkey. They're the ones that look more likely at the moment, the Bombers, the way they're playing. It's 17 marks to 7, so that's maybe what's frustrating some of the Bombers supporters, that they're controlling the tempo and moving it side to side, but they're trying to find a hole in this really well set up Melbourne defence.
So it's 8 minutes played in the third, and it's just the Bombers with 1 behind so far as Durham gets it, then he's tackled to ground by Neil Bullen. Holding the footy, Neil Bullen's free, and they'll play on here. Hand pass comes across to Viney. No, it'll be brought back. So no advantage. Comes back to Neil Bullen. Melbourne ahead by 12 points. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Inside 50, 6-3, the Bombers' way. in this quarter so far as Neil Bullen up the wing. Mackay trying to juggle the mark. Can't hang on. Draper throws in a slipper. Can't clear the congestion. McGrath kicks up towards Langford. Bouncing end over end. Can't take it cleanly with May there for Melbourne. Got it to Neil Bullen. Hand pass to Salem. Can't clear the congestion. Shield knocks it to Stringer. Trying to fend off May. Holding the ball. And Stephen May's into him as well. Over the top of him. And eventually he'll return the ball to him. Melbourne's number one. How's it left half back as he turns and comes inboard. Tom McDonald dropped the mark. Caddy lays the tackle. Got it back to May. Bumped as he gets a kick away. Langford tackled by Oliver. Melbourne desperately defending as Lever soccers it out. Got it to Windsor. Kicks up towards Fridge. Ridley comes in from one direction. Redmond the other. Spills to Pickett. Ducks the tackle. Kicks inside 50. Melton's out the back. He can hand pass it to Langdon. A brilliant team goal. The Demons had to withstand the Bombers' best. And then as quick as a flash, Posy Pickett spun out of traffic to set up the goal. The Demons with the first goal of the third term through 10 minutes. And Melbourne lead by 18 points. 7-6-48 to the Bombers 4-6-30. On ABC Sport, you are Daniel Harper and Nathan Burke.
Cosy Pickett then, that was absolutely outstanding piece of play because he went in to try and pick up the hard ball off the ground, knowing that he had players streaming forward inside 50. So he not only had to do it cleanly, he had to do it quickly and get rid of the footy. And he spun out of two tackles, got the ball perfectly on the chest of Melsham, who unselfishly handballed the ball to Langdon. But if Cosy Pickett fumbles that footy, there's no Melbourne goal.
So playback starting in the middle. Umpire tosses the ball up and will be locked up here with Oliver holding on to the footy and he'll be pinged. So Caldwell tackled him straight away and the free kick going the way of Caldwell. Oliver just chatting to the umpire now. But Caldwell with it in the centre circles. Slower in his decision making to decide to go long. And deep inside 50, Drape had two hands to it, couldn't take the mark. It comes back to Lever. He's tackled as he hand passes it up high, punched away. It comes down to Windsor in the end. He just scrubs the kick along the ground towards Melksham under plenty of pressure by Heppel, but can hand pass behind him to Oliver, who put the ball on his boot and kicked it into the third row. Out of bounds on the full, it'll be an Essendon free kick.
I know the AFL didn't mean it, their Carla Windsor, to kick that ball on the ground, but I reckon that's a pretty effective tool against the Bombers' defence. Mackay's doing a good job back there intercepting. Ridley's doing the same thing. Just get it on the ground. Let your small do. Get busy and go to work.
Ridley up towards Draper. Tom McDonald spoils it down. Perkins
That's
for
back.
the Bombers. Hand pass to Gresham. Mutton spots the free option. And it's Harry Jones who hugs it to his chest. Directly in front, 20 metres out from goal. Much better from the Bombers.
Yeah, good overlapping run, handballing through the middle, and it's the first time since the first quarter that the Melbourne defenders have got it wrong. And just didn't have anyone covering it deep. McVie came up and covered Langford in front of him and left the player behind.
For just their second goal since the opening quarter, Harry Jones directly in front. Looking to strike back for the Bombers. A hop and a skip as he comes in. Jones puts it through. And the Bombers have their first goal of the third quarter. At the 12-minute mark, the quick reply after the Demons goal at the other end. And we could be in for a Saturday night thriller. The margin is 12 points the Demons' way. Nathan Burke and Daniel Harper, your experts on ABC Sport.
I love the effort of Peter Wright in that occasion too, as the ball came in from half-back from Ridley. He was the one that brought the ball to ground with a fist. He couldn't mark it, so he didn't try to. He didn't try and make something up. It's a really disciplined thing to do, is just get that ball to ground. And then, as Berkey said, the rolling through with some overlap run. And anytime Nick Martin gets the ball forward to centre, good things normally happen for the Bombers. He's a terrific user of the foot. He's skillful on both sides of his body. Got onto the left foot there and saw Jones deep all by himself. So largely simple possession to execute, but I reckon Peter Wright's role in that's underestimated.
Draper punches it away from the restart. Cox has to chase after it. He tries to push Rivers out of the way and then takes the footy and then takes the tackle by Langdon. It's a high tackle. And it'll be a free kick to Cox. Gives us a chance to head down to Rory on the boundary.
Harry Petty was just having some testing done on the bench with the D's medicos. Just his right shoulder sort of doing some pressure testing, pushing against resistance. But he's back out there now, so pushing through.
Starting to drizzle again.
There's drizzle starting to come down again as the kick inside 50 for the Bombers was chopped off by McVie. He chipped it to Oliver, who goes long where plenty of players are surrounding the footy. It comes out the back. Redmond was standing there. He kicks it backwards towards Cully, slides on his knees and takes the mark at half back for Essendon. And goes backwards towards Heppel, who can bounce it once and then a hand pass it across to Ridley. He'll just chip it across to Dersma. Right half back for the Bombers. He'll send it towards Caddy, who takes the mark right in front of the interchange gates for the Bombers. Melbourne ahead by 12 points.
Lauren Borden and Matt Clinch calling the action. Nathan Burke and Daniel Harford, your experts, with Rory Campbell down on the boundary. As Ridley takes the mark from Caddy, kicks to Langford, who marks it right half forward. Still 2 kicks out from goal. Peter Wright leads into the pocket. He can't get it to him as Lever beautifully peeled off and takes the intercepting mark for Melbourne. Bit of a chaos kick to half-back. Tholstrup puts the bump on Dersma. Melbourne gather. Cossie Picker gets the half pass from Viney. Kicks up towards Melcham. Trying to juggle the mark. He claims it. Sliding on his backside in front of Ben Mackay. And the umpire said he had enough of it to be claimed the mark. Swings onto his right-hand side, Melcham. Inside 50. Turn of the target. Spoiled away by Kelly. And it goes out of play in the left forward pocket for the Demons. At the punt road end, Melbourne by 12 points. 15 minutes gone, third quarter on ABC Sport.
Players flooding into the attacking 50. A high ball tossed in, both rucks running down to meet it. Draper slips over. Turner tries to punch it away. Viney collects, holds the ball above his head. Tackled by Caldwell. It is Essendon who will be able to try and clear it. Martin kicked it in to an opposition player, ricocheted off him, and we'll have a throw in between wing and half forward.
Gee, they're lucky they didn't lose possession in the Bombers. Pickett was just floating forward to that contest all by himself. No attendee at all.
So Melbourne kicking towards the punt road end of the MCG. It's tossed in and Draper just palms it down. It's Salem though, who can get a boot towards it, soccers it forward. Melcham picks it up, but he's tackled the moment he gets it by Mason Redmond. Umpire will come in to toss the ball up 40 metres out from Melbourne's goal, leading by 2 straight kicks at the moment.
It's Turner doing the ruck work against Draper, so Draper takes out of the ruck, kicks to half back. Langford's outnumbered. Sparrow gathers for Melbourne. Hand pass to Viney. Kick smothered by Caldwell. Draper gathers. Kicks a chaos ball into the middle of the ground. No one's there, though, for the Bombers. And the mark is taken by Judd McVie. He just continues chipping away. Kicks inside 50. Turner outnumbered. Spoiled down by Ben Mackay. And Tholstrup has a shot on goal. Again, no 50. As the free kick will come back the way of Ben Mackay.
Funny thing is, though, if that kick is taken after a free kick up here on the wing, it's 50 every day of the week. But when players are having a shot for goal, they just give them a little bit more lenience.
Mackay, of course, played in 8 wins in his 71 games across 8 seasons at North Melbourne. Has played his 10 wins through the early stages of his career now as a Bomber. A long kick up towards the wing. Heppel can't take the mark. Hand pass to Wright. Puts it out in front of Nate Caddy. Bumping into him is Salem, which forces the ball out of play. Centre wing on the Shane stand side. Melbourne by 12 points. 17 minutes gone. Third quarter on ABC Sport.
Obviously a bit of a spruik on Nate Caddy after his performance last week. Just watching him move higher up the ground today. He's getting amongst it. Thought more he's going to be that lead out of the deep target for the Bombers, but he's really mobile and is athletic and getting up and down the ground really well tonight.
So Caldwell grabs the footy and he's tackled to ground. Did you like the spruiking of Nate Caddy? Brad Scott said he was rare in the way he could impact a game. Do you think that's good for a player when he's played 4 games?
Well, I think some kids really revel from that and they love that. Some kids, they will go, oh no, don't talk about it like that. I think Caddy's in the former.
As Durham kicks the ball to half forward where Stringer collects and just skies the ball inside 50, Stephen May. The only one in space there that chopped that one off, and he just kicks to the left back pocket to find Sparrow, with Melbourne holding a 12-point lead. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Good parade college boy, Nate Caddy too.
He slipped over there right on cue. They always have had a few sort of cult figures. You think of James Hird, Matthew Lloyd and Paul van der Haar back in the day under Kevin Sheedy in their successful eras. It's gathered by Fritsch on the wing for Melbourne. Half pass to Melcham. Turner's out the back. He can run into the open goal from 15 out and dribbles through his second. The Demons were racing downhill once they got the breakaway, and they made the Bombers pay. Back out by 18 points. Melbourne 8-6-54 to Essendon 5-6-36. 19 minutes gone, third quarter on ABC Sport.
Jake Melsham, quickly half. He hasn't touched the ball a lot, so he touched it 8 times. He's had 5 score involvements. Pretty much every time he gets it, something good happens for the D's, and that was just, again, an outstanding kick, and Turner did not have to break stride whatsoever. And really important goal for the D's. They've managed to turn around the early dominance of Essendon in this third quarter and snag a couple of late ones.
It's definitely a handy player, Jake Melcham. They were very keen to get him back in, clearly, rushing straight back in after his injury.
So from the middle, Viney pushes it forward. Chandler can send Melbourne inside 50. Quickly again, Packle form, it comes to the left forward pocket where Petty chases after it and brings it over the line for a throw-in about 10 metres around from the left behind post.
It's the mid-sized players that are really doing the damage. It's Melcham, it's Pickett, Windsor's doing a good job for them, Langdon's doing a good job. It's the mid-sized runners that are having a real impact on this game tonight.
So another chance for Melbourne to push the margin out as the ball's tossed in over the top of the 2 rucks. Durham's being tackled as he tries to kick it. Langdon comes in there. He can stop it for Chandler to pick it up. Hand pass back towards Lever, who stops and has a chance to kick it.
Well, carried away.
He did.
And then it just dribbled along the ground. Pickett will go after it now. He overruns it. Merritt can pick it up, shove it on his boot, and just get some distance out of that defensive 50 towards Martin, who paddles it back towards Durham. He hand passes it forward. Lever can pick it up, chips it down to Rivers, who hand passes it away to Monty's Wakefield. It's a bit of chaos on the outer side of the ground. It gets to Gresham, who's tackled by May. Then Monty's Wakefield tries to pick it up. He hand passes it away. And it'll be a tackle from Caldwell that ends the play. It means we'll have a ball up just on that outer side of the ground at half forward for Melbourne. So the D's are ahead by 18 points.
Bombers lead by a point at quarter time. Melbourne with 7 of the last 9 goals of the match as Colton Folstrup trying to get a clearance away of the Demons. Loses possession. It's socked away by Guelphy up the wing. Caldwell sliding on his backside. Gets a hand pass forward to Stringer. He chips it out in front of Sam Durham. Running at left half forward. He pulls up in front of Salem. Wants to give the hand pass back. As Guelphy kept running, he swings onto his right-hand side. Long kick to Jones and Bowie. It clears the 2. Desmond races after it in the right forward pocket. Corralled by Windsor. Kept the hand pass in play momentarily. And then Jones was across the boundary line, a throw in. 35 metres out from the Bombers' goal at the City end. It's Melbourne by 18 points. 22 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport. On the SMS, 0437 774 774. Trevor in Adelaide says all of Sam Draper's kicks are chaos kicks. Simon wants to know about your thoughts, Berkey, on a couple of the early draft picks in Nick Cox and Archie Perkins. They've been in the system for a few years now. Where are they at?
Crossroads, I think. I think Cox, they just haven't found a spot for him. Ideally, they want him to be that 200 centre winger, but the idea of that and the reality of that are two different things.
Merritt tries to pick it off from the throw-in, then it's Neil Bullen that gathers though. Just kicks the ball outside of 50, spirals around. Folstrup goes for it. He can't pick it up, so does Chandler. In the end, it's Langford for the Bombers who can pick it off if he can find the player in question, Cox, who will mark 35 metres out from goal.
Here you go, Berkey, right on cue.
He doesn't look keen.
No, he doesn't. He's just
trying to pass it off as much as he possibly can. But you look at, he's lined up against Ed Langdon. Ed Langdon has had 21, the most possessions for the Demons, and kicked a goal. And Cox is coming up for possession number 8. He's had 3 kicks and one of them has hit the target. So I'm tipping Ed Langdon is winning that battle.
So here's Nick Cox, the number 8 draft pick in 2020. He's got plenty of distance on the kick, but it's not accurate, and across to the right-hand side for a minor score. It's Melbourne's lead by 17 points as we head down to Rory Campbell on the boundary.
Hey guys, the Bombers have pulled the trigger on the sub. Nick Hind on, Peter Wright substituted out of the game, so maybe trying to adapt to the wet weather footy.
Thanks, Rory. Melbourne by 17 points as Tom McDonald's kick from half-back looking for Van Ryan. Bounces just inside the field of play and across the boundary line for a throw-in. Matt Lynch and Lauren Borden calling the action. Rory Campbell down to the boundary. Daniel Harford and Nathan Burke, your experts on ABC Sport. Meanwhile, the Crows lead by 7 points in the third term at the Adelaide Oval. There is a call available via the ABC Listen app. Just click on the AFL Extra button. Dyson Heppel gathers to the Bombers in the middle of the ground. Kicks to Hind, the sub into the action. Got a shove in the back. He didn't hang on to the mark long enough. He would have got a free kick. He pokes the kick forward. It's not 15, I would have thought. Langford gets the benefit of the doubt.
Went 8.
He plays on around Viney. Hand pass to Hind. That's a hospital hand pass. He's thrown to the turf by Colton Folstrup.
Well, they've made a mess of that. Everyone's made a mess of that, except for Melbourne. They defended that really well. Umpires made a mess, and the Bombers made a mess of that.
Didn't read the memo.
So Melbourne ahead by 17 points. Ball up. Langford pushes it forward. It's only towards Tholstrup, who can shove it on his boot, get it to a pack. It'll be Heppel there who can collect for Essendon. Hand pass back defensively to Mackay, who flares it out wide to Redmond. Holding the footy just at the top of defensive 50, then kicks to Caldwell. He'll mark in front of the Essendon benches. Dersma running along the boundary short. Takes his time in deciding to go long again to a pack that's forming at the top of the 50. Guelphy went up, tried to take it one-handed, couldn't. It's cleared away by Turner. Pushed down to Tholstrup. He just taps it over the top of his head. Fritsch was there, couldn't gather. Ball spilling around. Chandler trying to put a tackle on. The ball will be locked up in the middle of the centre square. As Redmond comes in off the bottom of the pack, and Chandler for Melbourne for a ball up, with Melbourne ahead by 17 points nearing the end of the third quarter.
Draper and Van Rooyen tangle. Van Rooyen reaches over the top, wins down the tap, but a shield. Hand pass to McGrath, kick smothered. Chandler did well. Can't get a hand pass to Oliver, who scraps against Redmond at ground level. Good second effort from Oliver, but Windsor gets it. Hand pass to Tholstrup, kicks inside 50. Fridge wrestling with Heppel. It gets to the back. Ben Mackay's out after it. Top of the defensive goal square. Hand pass to Kelly. He chips it to Dersma, who marks it right half back despite the late bump from Clayton Oliver. Melbourne 8-6-54 to the Bombers 5-7-37. Melbourne by 17 points. 25 minutes gone. Third quarter on ABC Sport.
So the kick comes from Dersma. Draper and Van Rooyen at the top of the pack. It's May that punches it down. Neil Bullen can't collect. Will go in after it. It's picked up by McGrath. He's tackled. Umpire says play on, allowing Neil Bullen to pick it up and hand pass it away. Again, it's Caldwell doing the tackling. This time it's on Sparrow. And he holds up play for a ball up 50, 60 metres out from Melbourne's goal. And it's Tholstrup who can just hack it inside 50 for the D's. Picked up by Chandler, gets it on the second attempt, then hand passes it to Sparrow, who has a kick at the sticks, but Mackay's there and able to pick it up for the Bombers. A long hand pass to Cox, who'll flick it across to Heppel, who's in a bit of trouble here. He can just get a hand pass away to Hind, who's got Moniz Wakefield chasing after him. He handballs it away to Shield, who can hand pass to Cox, who drops it, then can't pick it up cleanly. Bowie's gone after him close to the boundary line. Cox just puts it on his left boot, hoping for the boundary line, and that's exactly what he gets. And it means we'll have a ball up, or a throw-in rather, on the outer side of the ground, right at centre wing. Melbourne ahead by 17 points, 27 minutes played on Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Ed Langdon into Cox as well. He's at least he kept coming in that passage of play. Made 3 or 4 errors, but he kept going.
He picked it up in between his legs like a basketball crossover. All the talent on display there. As Melbourne through, Tholstrup tackled, lost it, holding the ball. And the Bombers will take it back, centre wing under the Shane Warne stand side.
Yeah, just got to give the first thought, young fella. He tried to fend off rather than dishing out the handball.
Jai Caldwell has it for the Bombers, kicks up towards half forward. Draper's gone forward, palms it down to Stringer. Little toe poke to Langford. Under pressure, loses it. Tom McDonald for Melbourne. Hand pass to Neil Bullen, kicks back up the wing. Awkward bouncing ball for Ben Mackay. Reaching over the top, Fritsch knocks it boundary side and it goes out of play. As the rain just gets a little bit heavier here at the MCG.
Gresham, 1 kick, 1 handball this quarter. Guelphy, 3 kicks, no handballs this quarter. They need their small players, especially forward of the centre, to get into it. And Perkins as well, 2 kicks, 1 handball. Not going to win the game without those blokes having an influence.
The opposition's players in those roles, those small half forwards, mid half forwards, they're the ones that are having influence. Totally different.
So Oliver hacks a kick away. It's McGrath who can trap it. Hand passes it away to Cox. It's stolen by Melbourne again. It's Langdon with the footy. He just scrubs the kick inside 50. Ridley picks it up and is happy to be taken over the boundary line by Bowie for a throw-in right at the top of Melbourne's attacking 50. So D's ahead by 17 points. Trying to stay in touch with the top 8. Still time for a late one for the Demons in this third quarter. The ball's tossed in. Draper couldn't gather it. Heppel trying to do the tackling. Van Rooyen couldn't pick it up either. In the end, it's Shields who skies a ball up as high as it does go long, really. And then it's kicked away by Langdon, who probably didn't need to soccer it close to the boundary line, but he sockered it over the boundary for a free kick for the Bombers, and Mackay's there ready to take it. As the ball went out of bounds on the full, and it'll eventually be returned after going all the way 10 rows deep in the forward pocket for Melbourne. So it's Melbourne ahead by 17 points, late stages of the third term.
Some of the Demons fans in the ponchos over there not all that keen to get the footy back. They eventually have to do so. As we're closing in on three-quarter time. Dylan Shield long up the wings. Stephen May with a big fist spoils it out of play. He's had 10 disposals in this third quarter, Stephen May, up to 22 for the match, behind Ed Langdon with 23 and Jordan Ridley as well. Melbourne by 17 points, 29 minutes gone. Third quarter on ABC Sport. Crows leading by 7 points at the Adelaide Oval. Similar time stage there in that match. As the siren sounds to three-quarter time, the Demons with 2 goals to 1 in that third quarter to lead by 17 points at three-quarter time, and on the verge of a big win here at the wet and challenging MCG. The Demons 8-6-54 to the Bombers 5-7-37. For the Demons, 2 goals to Daniel Turner, individuals to Windsor, Langdon, Melcham, Fritsch, Pickett and Chandler. While for the Bombers, their goals have come through Langford, Durham, Jones, Dersma and Nick Martin. The Demons by 17 points at three-quarter time at the MCG. The Crows holding a slender lead over the Saints, 6-10-46 to St Kilda, 5-8-38. The thoughts of Nathan Burke and Daniel Harford about to come on Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
Wimbledon 2024 on ABC Sport. Hear it live every night on the ABC Listen app. Just search for the tennis button.
Hey Google, play the footy on the ABC.
Did you know you can now listen to the footy on your smart speaker?
Oh, that is amazing!
Play ABC AFL.
Time to steady and pull the trigger!
Get the best call, the biggest experts in the game, every round of the AFL season.
Can he bend it back? You bet he can!
On your favourite station, ABC Radio. Your home for footy. Now on your smart speaker. This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Blackman, tackled by Oliver. Melbourne desperately defending as Lever softens it out. Got it to Windsor. Kicks up towards Fritsch. Ridley comes in from one direction. Redmond the other. Spills to Pickett. Ducks the tackle. Kicks inside 50. Melcham's out the back. He can hand-pass it to Langdon. A brilliant team goal. Ridley up towards Draper. Tom McDonald spoils it down. Perkins for the Bombers. Hand-pass to Gresham. Martin spots the free option. And it's Harry Jones who hugs it to his chest. Directly in front, 20 metres out from goal. Harry Jones directly in front. Looking to strike back for the Bombers. A hop and a skip as he comes in. Jones puts it through. It's gathered by Fritsch on the wing for Melbourne. Half past to Melcham. Turner's out the back. He can run into the open goal from 15 out and dribbles through his second.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Three-quarter time of the MCG on ABC Sport. It's the Demons who lead by 17 points over the Bombers. 8-6-54 to Essendon, 5-7-37. The Bombers led by a point at quarter time. They got out by 12 points in the opening quarter. And then the Demons have kicked 7 of the last 9 goals of the match. 3 goals to 1 in the second quarter to lead by 13 points at halftime. And 2 goals to 1 in that third quarter to lead by 17 points at three-quarter time. Matt Clinch and Lauren Borden calling the action. Rory Campbell down on the boundary. Daniel Harford and Nathan Burke are your experts. So wins today for the Hawks by 13 points over Fremantle. Sydney, big winners by 79 points over North Melbourne. And the Western Bulldogs by 14 points over the Blues. It means with victory tonight for the Bombers, they could jump up to second spot on the AFL ladder. A win for the Demons tonight would have them up to 6th on the AFL ladder. The Hawks are just outside the top 8 on percentage, having closed the gap. And the Bulldogs now have slid down to 9th. So Berkey and Half, it's all to play for with so much at stake in such an even season.
Oh, it's going to be a fascinating run home to the finals. Normally at this stage of the year, it's pretty much set. There might be 1, possibly 2 that can sneak in. Here we've got a handful that can sneak into the finals and certainly not shaped by any way possible. So interesting this game. Bombers have a chance for second. At the moment, they're blowing that big time because it's the Demons who are... I think if I'm Simon Goodwin, at halftime I would have said, look, they're going to come out firing. They're going to come out full of steam. You know, they're not playing well in the first half. They've got a lot of pride. They're going to come at us. So let's just withstand it and then take our opportunity. Go bang, bang, take our opportunities when it does come our way. And that's exactly the way it played out. They withstood that first initial 7 or 8 minute bombardment from the Bombers and then just went bang, bang and cut the game open with 2 quick ones at the end of that. What I really liked was a change that they made with Van Rooyen playing in the ruck. Melbourne won the clearances that quarter 16-5. And it wasn't just because he was competing. He was actually winning a lot of the hit-outs against Draper and not allowing Draper to do what he wanted to do. The Essendon midfielders were banking on Draper getting his hand on the footy again. And they were being quite proactive and going, Draper, just hit it down my throat, I'm going to be on the move. Van Rooyen wasn't allowing that to happen. He was getting the ball to different spots of the ground that the Essendon midfielders weren't, and Melbourne capitalised on that really, really well. So Van Rooyen in the ruck might not have had a lot of possessions, but he was instrumental in that third quarter of Melbourne ended up being in front.
The control game from Essendon didn't quite work, especially in that first half of the quarter, Burke, as you say. They had a few more marks, uncontested marks in that quarter than the D's did. They tried to shift the defence of Melbourne, but they're so disciplined with their setups behind the boards. It's contest and it's defence. You hear Simon Goodwin talk about that all the time. That's the DNA of the Demons, and they're back to it. It's making a difference tonight. They didn't allow Essendon any chance to really progress forward with the ball with any great ferocity after that first 6 or 7 minutes. So that was a real win for the Demons in that regard. Then they're on the counter-attack, as we've talked about all night. They are so dangerous when the ball gets inside their forward 50 and it's on the deck and their smalls get to work. So in the conditions tonight, having a lead like this at three-quarter time, I prefer to be the Demons and the Bombers. No, don't you worry about that. A big challenge here for the Bombers to do something about this.
Are you tipping, Huff?
No, I'm tipping the D's. I think that what they've shown with their contest work and their defence is enough to get them over the line tonight.
Jack Viney's had 10 kicks. Only one of them have hit the target. But normally when he gets a kick, he's got 3 blokes hanging off him.
That's true.
So you can't really blame him for that. But he'll be instrumental in this last quarter because he will not stop working.
Final term underway as Sam Draper and Jacob Van Rooyen do battle in the middle of the ground. It spills out to Clayton Oliver. Feeds it back to Moniz. Wakefield under pressure. Hand pass to Salem. Knocked back to Rivers. Back to Salem. It's all under tight confinement at the moment as Jacob Van Rooyen clears. Kicks out to the Shane Warne stand side. It's gathered by Hine. The sub into the action. Hand pass to Perkins. Now to Merritt. Kicks the inside 50. Stringer can't take the mark. Caldwell kept running. Hand pass to Cox inside 50. Hand pass missed Guelphy. He races after in the left forward pocket, cuts back on his right. It's a high ball inside 50. Have a go at that. Underneath it, Van Rooyen can't take the mark. Caddy's there. He can't gather. Nick Martin wanted high contact. He'll get it. Losing his footing, and Stephen Mays tackles over the shoulder. And Nick Martin creative in the left forward pocket. A chance to strike first in the opening minute.
The D's are irate. He did lean in with that right shoulder. No doubt about it on the replay. He's looking for the contact. Stephen May gave it to him. And the umpire said, you can't do that, fella. I reckon it's play on the way they umpire that these days, or should umpire that these days.
Nick Martin, the third-year Bomber. What a kick he's got on his boot. One already on a 45-degree angle. Only around 20 metres out. Nick Martin comes in to give the Bombers life. He puts it straight through the middle. Just their third goal since quarter time. And they're within 11 points. The Demons 8-6-54 to Essendon 6-7-43. Just 90 seconds gone in the final term. The Bombers strike first.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Half. If a player can tuck the ball under one arm and have the other arm free, lean into a tackle, well then you can handball the ball.
Yep.
And to me that's a prior opportunity. And but you know what? You take your chances with the Bombers. They got an early one here. They're up and about. Only 2 goals behind now, and the rain stopped. It's pretty good conditions for footy out there. There's no wind either way, so this is game on. We're in for a great last quarter.
How hard is that to umpire?
Yeah, it is. It's incredibly difficult.
So back in the middle, it's Van Rooyen who palms it down. Pickett soccers it forward, but it's Hine chasing after it against Neil Bullen. He can just get a boot to it. It gets to Langdon, and he goes after Langdon. The ball will come back to Martin. He hand passes it towards Perkins, misses its target. Oliver comes in, hand passes it to Salem again. He's just put it in some space where it can be picked up by Draper, who hand passes backwards towards McGrath. Flicks it across to Kai. A bit of pressure. He couldn't hand pass properly. It'll come back to him after McGrath tapped it to him. He's dispossessed it after the footy, after fumbling it. Melcham can pick it up. He just shoves it into some space. It might slide all the way through, and Melcham has got a goal. He's kicked it from outside 50, no one in the goal square, and slid the ball through for Melbourne. He's got his second tonight against his old club, Jake Melcham. Second game back from an ACL, and he puts Melbourne back ahead by 17 points. It's 3 minutes played in this final term. 9-6-60 Melbourne, 6-7-43 Essendon, 17 points ahead of Melbourne. What did you think of that one, Daniel Harford and Nathan Burke?
Well, I think I'd want my moments again if I was Ben Mackay. Had a couple of absolute howls at half-back for the Bombers that really opened the door. And in the end, it was just a bit of pot luck. We talked about skidding the ball just in a straight line earlier in the evening when the Bombers got a goal, I think it was. Actually, it was Windsor's goal. So all you've got to do is get it online and let it go for as far as you can. You'll kick it through, but Ben Mackay had a mare there.
And Mason Redmond ended up amongst the gutter trying to slip and slide and stop a goal. The Bombers have got it inside 50. Caddy races after it. McVie knocks it out. Melbourne desperately defending. Langdon over the top. Gets a hand pass to Tom McDonald in the left back pocket. A clearing kick for Melbourne up towards Sparrow. Can't take them up. Ben Mackay here. Hand pass to the Bombers to Caldwell at right half forward into the pocket looking for Caddy. Stephen May gets back and spoils it out of play. Right forward pocket for the Bombers at the punt road end. It's Melbourne who lead by 17 points. 4 minutes gone, final term on ABC Sport. Here's Lauren Borden.
Great positioning by Stephen May again. I reckon he might feature in Berkey's votes later on.
Nice one.
He's gone earlier this week.
1-1.
So the ball tossed in. It'll be cleared away by Rivers, who can kick it into the centre of the ground. Chopped off, though, by Ridley. Standing back for Essendon, he'll just chip it across to Kelly. That wasn't 15. No, it was. The umpire will pay it. And then Kelly will chip it further forward to Martin. He's got the ball in the centre circles, and he can kick it across to Draper, who was leading for the footy. Couldn't take the mark. It comes to the back where Gresham has it. Hand passes behind him to a voice. It's Oliver, though, for Melbourne. Hand passes it across to Langdon, who flicks it to Sparrow, who puts it on his boot. And he can chip it to Fritsch. Centre wing outer side of the MCG. Fritsch is able to hold on to the footy and chip it forward towards Langdon, who's kept running along that wing on the southern side of the MCG.
This bloke won't be far away from him either. I think Langdon has been instrumental tonight with his run up and down and just creating space on that wing.
Langdon chips it forward to Sparrow, who holds on to the footy. Long kick now. We'll get it to the top of the 50 for Melbourne. And it's Ridley sitting there at the very back of the pack for Essendon, who can hold on to the footy and take the mark, and he can chip it across to Redmond. Still in defensive 50 for Essendon. They've got to make up a 17-point deficit.
Ridley's up to 25 possessions now, going at 90% by foot.
Short to McGrath, who tries to get some run going for the Bombers. Hand pass to Hine, almost run down by Rivers. Long kick up the members' wing. Guelphy illegally works Lever out of it, and the Melbourne defender will take the free kick. So Lever and May have been a real thorn in the Bombers' forward 50 side in this match. As Lever comes inboard to Oliver, hand pass to the back of, in the end, Tajwai Woden, who's into the action, kicks up inside 50. Melcham flies, almost hung onto it with Draper in front of him. He gathers the ball at ground level, hand pass to Neil Bullen. A little toe poke towards the boundary line, and it goes out of play in the right forward pocket. So Rory Campbell on the boundary. Melbourne have made their sub.
They have Tajwai Woden injected into the game. Andy Moniz Wakefield looks like he's the man to move to the back seat of the bench.
Thanks, Rory. So Tajwai Woden has started 10 games as the sub for Melbourne this year. So he spent a lot of time sitting at the back of the bench waiting for his opportunity to come on. As the ball's tossed in, Neil Bullen can pick it up, hands and knees, stand up, then hand pass it away to Oliver, who gets it out of defensive 50. Then it's Merritt chasing after it. He tackles Woden, who was trying to pick up the footy. Guelphy goes in desperately. He can hold on to the footy. He's on the ground, though, and he's tackled by 2. So the umpire will come in and throw the ball up. Broadcast side of the MCG between wing and half forward for the D's.
It's not something you really want to become good at, is it? Sub. and say, oh, no, he's a good sub, we'll just make him a sub again. What a stinker, really.
Pickett taps it inside 50 and it's cleared by Kelly. Met though by Oliver, who can hand pass it away to Windsor, who's 51 metres out from goals. He spots Pickett, who leaps up and takes the mark ahead of his opponent. And Pickett will get a set shot at goal, 35 metres out. And this will do a bit of damage for the Bombers' hopes tonight.
Look a bit unsettled with ball in hand behind the ball at the moment, the Bombers. Working what you can see, it's just giving the ball back way too easily to the Ds, with much more poised centre forward than we've seen in recent months as well.
Cozzy Pickett eyes the goals and skips in on his approach. That is a beautiful kick from Cozzy Pickett. In game 100, he puts his second on the board, and he's made it very difficult for Essendon to make a comeback from here. It's Melbourne 10-6-66, Essendon 6-7-43. 8 minutes played in the final term, and Melbourne lead by a game-high 23 points. Your experts on ABC Sport, Daniel Harford and Nathan Burke.
Well, if you're a Melbourne supporter, you'd be pretty excited about their wings at the moment. We know it's a really pivotal part of the game at the moment, and Caleb Windsor, every time I see the Demons play, he just gets better and better. And by that, I mean getting more poise. Even then, he could have just bombed away to the top of the goal square, had a flying shot, but he lowered the eyes, hit Cozzy Pickett. You know, it's obvious he's fast and he can run up and down, but that poise with the footy is something that he's becoming really good at.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport, and here he is, Windsor, having received it from the big Sam Draper tap. Gained 15 metres, but Melbourne take possession. Out to Neil Bullen, gets the hand pass to Oliver, drives it inside 50. Fritsch comes racing out, but Ben Mackay takes the intercepting mark, turns and kicks laterally to Redmond. 25 metres out from his defensive goal at the City end. Short to Merritt. He swings onto his left-hand side. Missed the intended target, Perkins. Neil Bullen for Melbourne. Hand pass to Salem. Links up with Viney. Kicks to the lead of Turner, who marks directly in front, 40 metres out.
There it is again. Just another error coming out of defensive third. Straight back to the Demons, and you cannot perform or defend that transition because the ball is going straight back the other way at speed, and the opposition set up really well for it. So it's just a disaster for any team trying to exit and giving it straight back to the opposition side, the defensive half.
Caleb Windsor comes to the Melbourne bench for the round of applause. Daniel Turner, who has 2 already tonight, in game number 12, from directly in front. He'll kick from 45. He likes it straight off the boot. Puts through his third. And the Demons are doing everything right here at the MCG. A 29-point advantage, as this new generation of Demons start to take over. 3-1 in the final term. Melbourne 11-6-72 to the Bombers 6-7-43. 10 minutes gone, final term on ABC Sport. Daniel Turner with his third goal.
He's been to the Ben Brown School of Goal Kicking. It's a fair run-up. He's got, I had to be practising with the both of them. Not many of them would be going through the middle, but the Bombers, the worry for me is we saw them here a few weeks ago. They were really competitive against the Cats for a half, and in the second half they really fell away. I think it was a 45-point loss to the Cats. They just capitulated, and you can't do that again here at the MCG in a big game.
So from the middle, Shields kicks it forward, picked up by Langdon. He's tackled and will have a ball up in the centre square. So Essendon have lost more quarters than they've won this year. Not by many, but it's showing again tonight as it's hacked out from Shields. Just gets some distance, almost into the chest of Harry Jones. He can't take the mark. Caddy tries to kick it. It's McVie who clears it away, but only as far as Dersma. He can get it, hand pass it to Caldwell, who can flick it across to Shields, who puts it on his left boot and completely sprays it out of bounds on the full. No score for the Bombers. And it's another opportunity that's just gone begging for Essendon. Melbourne still ahead by 29 points, 12 minutes gone in the final term.
The Bombers are just not getting anything easy at all. Yeah. Every possession is under pressure from the Demons.
Kick up towards Turner, can't take the mark for Melbourne. Salem's hand pass to Van Rooyen, cleverly knocked it to Neil Bullen. Running boundary side, member side, kicks up towards Petty. Can't take the mark on the half volley. Ridley, hand pass back to Redmond, centering ball. A kick to centre half back where the mark is taken by Nick Martin. All of a sudden there's space out on the Shane Warne stand side, but that's not a good kick. Puts it on the head of Nate Caddy. Can't take the mark. The smaller Judd McVie races after it, having made the spoil. Gets there first. Great effort as he gets the hand pass away to Tom McDonald, and he kicks up the wing to Langdon. It's the hand pass away to Bowie. Kick miss Viney, and Nick Martin takes the intercepting mark for the Bombers at right half-back.
Martin goes to kick inside the centre of the ground. It's chopped off, though, by Rivers, who kicks inside to a vacant forward pocket. Here's Bailey Fritsch. He snaps it, and he goals for Melbourne. An open goal square for Fritsch to snap it through. The Essendon players are on their haunches, looking defeated. It's Fritsch with his second, and Melbourne's lead is extended out to 35 points, 12-6-78, Essendon 6-7-43. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Back half turnover, Berkey. Back into the corridor. Disaster. I'm all for trying to take the game on and try and find a way to win and find a way through this Melbourne defence, which maybe is what they're trying this last quarter at the moment, the D's. But that's the third defensive half turnover that's gone the opposition's way, Melbourne's way, and they kick the goal from. So 3 goals from forward half turnovers for the D's in this last quarter alone. It's just there's too many mistakes from the Bombers, and the D's are making them pay. Their energy's high. Good point, Loz, that Essendon look defeated almost from their body language.
8 goals from turnovers for the Demons tonight. Here's Cosy Pickett breaking out of the middle in game 100 into the pocket and finds Bailey Fritsch, who just used his body superbly against Jordan Ridley to mark in the left forward pocket. And Melbourne all of a sudden are absolutely streaming clear.
Yeah, that was 2 of the Melbourne midfielders, Viney and Pickett, started in the centre circle, and they were out the front. Where were the Essendon midfielders allowing 2 of them to get out the front of that stoppage?
Bailey Fritsch in the left forward pocket. 34 goals for the season. 2 tonight already for a third. Fritsch puts it straight through the middle. And the Demons are charging home here at the MCG. 5 goals to 1 in the final term. For a couple of consecutive weeks they couldn't score in final terms, but they have the foot on the gas here. 41-point leaders, 13-6-84 to the Bombers 6-7-43. Bailey Fritsch with his 3rd goal joins Daniel Turner.
It's just fallen apart, Berkey. 4 goals in 6 minutes, 5 for the term, but 4 goals in 6 minutes. You're ringing in my ears what you said before about the second half against the Cats, where they got defeated by the 45 points. Now it's 41. All of a sudden it's 41. And this could blow out to a 50-plus point loss as well if they're not careful. They keep going the way they're going at the moment. It will be 50-plus.
So 5 straight goals, Melbourne. Margin out to 41 points as the umpire tosses the ball up. Stringer's been sent into the centre bounce. He can hand pass it away to Shield, who hand passes it to Merritt. Sends the kick inside 50, punched back out. It's Neil Bullen who collects and hand passes to Rivers, who flicks it across to Viney, who's tackled by Shields, and the umpire calls play on. Kick goes out to the outer side of the ground. Hind overruns it and can't collect. Tholstrup's there. Sockers it along the ground for Melbourne. It gets to Sparrow, who again, he just kicks it along the ground. McGrath chasing after it. Mackay can just get a touch on it. McGrath will pick it up. Hand pass it away to Caldwell. Can pick it up on the second attempt. And he'll send it out wide as the umpire blows a whistle, and it'll be a free kick going the way of the Bombers. And it's Caldwell who'll receive it. He'll try and switch it across the ground here. He was looking for Kelly. Chopped off by Melcham. He picks it up and he can hand pass it across to Chandler. Melbourne trying to make the Bombers pay again on the turnover. The hand pass goes to Melcham, whose kick slides along the ground. It's picked up by Heppel, who hand passes it across to Stringer, who can kick to Ridley.
There goes short when the mark is taken by Jake Kelly at left half back. The Demons by 41 points. Matt Clinch and Lauren Borden call the action. Rory Campbell down on the boundary. Daniel Harford and Nathan Burke, your experts on ABC Sport. Kelly hugs the boundary line, and in the end, Jake Bowie back with the flight, but it would have gone out on the full. And Mark's in front of the 2 benches. Bowie turns and comes inboard, finds Rivers. Possession number, as he gets it back to Bowie, kicks up towards Melcham, can't take the mark against Kelly. He might have been held. Kelly went on in possession. The Bombers will take the advantage. Stringer kicks through the middle of the ground, looking for Jones. Can't take the mark. Van Rooyen nudged him underneath. Rivers races back after it. Now pass to Viney for Melbourne. Links up with Stephen May, who chips it out laterally. And Langdon can mark under the Shane Warne stand wing.
Position number 26. Clinchy 2 for Rivers. We had 20 at half-time. He's been relatively quiet in the second half.
With Ed Langdon owning the southern side of the MCG. He takes his time to kick towards Sparrow, who stops it but can't mark. Mackay can pick up and hand pass to McGrath. Just gets a handball away as he's being tackled to Shield, who hand passes it across to Heppel. Hand pass to Jones, who gets it across to Caldwell. Finds Heppel again via hands, and he decides to put it on his boot. Just a short chip kick to Gresham. Gets to him on the half volley. He's tackled, and Heppel's still in the mix here. Tapping it to himself. He can hand pass it away to Ridley, who handballs it to Hind, who looks right and just dodges around and kicks towards Kelly in the centre of the ground, who can mark, and he'll chip it towards Dersma. They've moved it across to the northern side of the MCG as Dersma chips to Stringer. 60 metres out from goals. He can chip inside. He's looking for Draper. Drops the mark. Caddy's at the bottom of it. High. Skying ball towards Martin, who's on a 2-on-1. And he loses out to Lever, although the umpires paid the free kick.
Paid a front-on contact.
Against Langdon, yeah. He didn't seem to have any eyes on the ball, just looking at the replay. It might be there. Yeah, I don't think he can do that. I'm happy with that.
So Nick Martin gets another free kick, this time on the outer side of the ground. He's kicking from a tight angle though, about 35 metres out. So he's on his approach now, kicking directly into the Melbourne cheer squad. With the punt road end of the ground, puts plenty on his kick, and it sails through for his third goal of the night. It's a little late consolation for the Bombers. The lead for Melbourne still 35 points. As we near ticking into extra time here for the MCG. It's Melbourne 13-6-84, Essendon 7-7-49. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, a bit of a late consolation one there. Free kick to the Bombers. Just every single time they pick up the football, they're under pressure. There's no free passes. There's no being able to chip the ball around and just maintain possession for a period of time. There's no overlapping handball because Melbourne's come forward defence. Anyone who's behind the footy just comes forward, just keeps coming forward and just putting immense pressure on the Bombers, and they haven't been able to handle it, especially in the second half.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. Draper beautifully over the back to Shield. Drives it inside 50. Jones and Tom McDonald spills down to Langford. Kicks across his body end over end through for a much needed goal. His second of the night. And the Bombers put on 2 in a minute. Just to keep things interesting. 29 points is Melbourne's lead. You feel like the horse is bolted, but you never know. 13-6-84 to the Bombers 8-7-55. The Demons with 5 goals to 3 in this final term.
Well, that's what you want to see if you're Brad Scott at the moment. You want to see them keep coming. Now, as you say, the horse is probably bolted, but the last thing you can do is, if you want to be taken seriously as a footy team, which is all we've heard from Essendon through the season, is to keep coming, make sure that there's not a demolition job going back the other way. So something at the moment, I don't think it's going to be enough to get them anywhere near winning this game of footy, but they have to do this. They have to narrow this margin, get it to 15, 16 points by the end of the game, and to be seen as a serious threat at some stage.
8 straight goals in the fourth term is from the middle. It's Rivers who just hacks a kick out along the ground. Redmond chasing back, can hand pass it to McGrath, who shoves it on his boot, tries to get some distance to a pack forming. It's Salem and Stringer who had the right position. Neither of them could take it. And it's again Sparrow going after it. Stringer can pick it up, hand pass it back to Redmond, who just chips it out towards Gresham. Will be able to hold on to the footy and steady it for the Bombers. And chips it backwards towards Ridley. So the Essendon defenders have chipped it around a bit tonight, and Ridley's been one of the key instigators of that. He goes long though with this kick. It's Draper who might be able to take the mark. Langford was in front of him. He couldn't grab it cleanly either. He'll be chasing after it here along with Martin, who goes after it. Pushed by Salem. Then Langford can pick it up again. He'll go inside 50 here for the Bombers. Dersma's there and he can take the mark. Running back with it, Dersma holds onto the footy. He's directly in front and he wants to move things on quickly.
It was a good kick. There was 2 Melbourne defenders. Barry was in front and there was another one behind. It just made its way over the top of them. So probably about their best forward entry kick they've had all night.
So Xavier Dersma, 20 metres out, straight in front, will shove the ball through here. And maybe there's a little bit of life in the Bombers. It's tough going from here. But maybe with Dersma's second of the night, it might just be possible for the Bombers. It's Essendon 9-7-61. They're trailing Melbourne 13-6-84. Big comeback would need to be made, though, with 22 minutes played in the fourth term.
Another one who's finding his feet in the Essendon system under Brad Scott. Dersma. He's having a bit of an influence the last couple of weeks. Nice to see him be able to push forward as that winger and hit the scoreboard. And we haven't seen that from Nick Cox tonight when he's been playing in that role on the opposite end. Martin plays on the wing and does a bit of a job as well, so in that regard. So that's a good sign for the Bombers. And again, they're coming. Maybe the D's have just put the foot off the gas a little bit, but good to see the Bombers still coming at the game.
So having kicked 2 goals in 2 quarters, the Bombers, all of a sudden now they've kicked 3 goals in 3 minutes. It's a funny old night at the MCG as Cosy Pickett gets the clearance, kicks Melbourne inside 50 over the head of Turner. And Ben Mackay hangs onto the mark. 35 metres out from his defensive goal, the City end. Kicks the Bombers out to halfback when Kelly takes the mark. Melbourne 13-6-84 to the Bombers 9-7-61. 23 minutes gone, final term. The kick up the wing. Van Rooyen makes the spoil for Melbourne. Down to Windsor. Kicks up to Melcham. Out number 3 on 1. Mackay drops the mark. Volstrup slides in. Footy stuck underneath him. And also Dyson Heppel. And the umpire will board up at right half forward for the Demons.
So Melbourne ahead by 23 points. The ball's tossed up. It's Durham who can weave his way through a bit of traffic to put it on his boot. Bounces over the top of Stringer and McVie. It's Caddy there. He soccers it forward. Clever kick towards Langford, who marks for the Bombers. He's got to go quickly here. He sends it inside 50. It'll bounce once just before getting to Jones, who hand passes it to Gresham, who tracks it back out of the 50. Hand pass to McGrath, who spills it, then picks it up. Hand pass to Jones, who hand passes it back to Gresham, who just has a ping towards goals. It'll drop short. And it's punched away by McDonald. Doesn't go through for a behind, though. It'll stay in play. There'll be a throw-in just around from the behind post for Essendon, trailing by 23 points, but having kicked the last 3 goals on the trot.
Time is now starting to become an enemy of the Bombers. A bit over 4 minutes to go as it's thrown in. Van Rooyen and Draper spills down to Salem. Clearing kick for Melbourne to halfback. Langford gets a fist in there. Spills it down to McGrath for the Bombers. Hand pass to Mackay. Need to take a few risks. Kicks into the middle of the ground where Redmond takes the mark. Veers out to the right-hand side, away from Melcham. Drives it long towards the goal mouth. Stringer's the target, wrestling with Woden. Spills down to Jones, back to Stringer. Off balance. He kicks it out on the full into the near behind post, the left behind post. Couldn't pull off the miraculous there. Melbourne by 23 points. 25 minutes gone, final term on ABC Sport.
Having a crack here, the Bombers late. Might just be a little too late for them to make this charge. As May kicks to a pack, it goes through the fingertips of Fritsch. It falls down to Durham. He can hand pass to Heppel. The Bombers will go back inside 50 here. Heppel has to hurry the kick towards Stringer. Can't mark. McDonald picks it up and hand passes it to Rivers, but the umpire's picked off a free. And it's going to the Bombers, who Merritt has it, who he plays on. So Merritt has a free kick. He played on. He kicks it to Martin, who 45 metres out from goals will be directly in front, but needs to kick the goal.
It was a throw. McDonald had the ball and tackled, and his left arm was retarded and ended up just being a right-handed throw. It's a good call by the umpire.
So Nick Martin, he's already got 3 tonight. His 4th one would just put a little glimmer of hope there in the Bombers fans' mind to have come out here tonight. He kicks it through. Martin with 4. And the Bombers are staging a late charge here. They've got 4 in a row. And Melbourne's lead now 17 points. There's still just a few minutes left in this game. Maybe enough time for the Bombers. Essendon 10-7-67. Melbourne 13-6-84.
Well, they need 3 and 3.5. Can they do it? We saw the Cats came out at the start of the game last night, kicked 3 in a minute and a half.
Yes.
So there's plenty of time if we go by that. But yeah, I think that the Bombers now are just throwing caution and wind. They're up and running, and the D's have sort of put the cue in the rack a little bit. But that might just spark them into just to finishing off this game a little bit stronger.
This has been a weird game. The Bombers kicked the first goal of the final term, got within 11. Melbourne kicked the next 5, got out by 41. The Bombers with the next 4. And here's Shield out of the middle, giving them life. He kicks to Guelph. He can't hang on. Lever makes the spoil. Guelph bounces into Oliver. Lost the footy though. Viney ferocious. Gets it back to Oliver. Spills out the way of Draper. Merritt under pressure. Can't get a clean hand pass first time. Now flicks it out to McGrath. High kick inside 50. Back with a flight. Jake Lever. Got good support from Bowie. And Lever marks 20 metres out from his defensive goal. Melbourne by 17 points. 27 minutes gone, final term, ABC Sport.
How's the crowd coming into the game now as Lever kicks out wide? It's close to the boundary line. It'll be punched over. Oh, it'll be a Bombers free. So in that contest, the umpires found a free. And it's Mason Redmond who wants the footy back quickly. So he's got it between wing and half forward for the Bombers. 17 points in this match. Not a lot of time left. And Redmond kicks long. There's players stacked inside the forward 50. Martin nearly takes the mark. He can't hold on. Bowie goes after it. Hand passes it away to McDonald, who gets tackled to the turf. And the umpire will come in and throw the ball up here, 30 metres out from Essendon's goal. They'll have a chance to get another one. They've got the last 4.
Thrown up. Draper tries to win it down against Van Rooyen. Bowie, was he taken high by Dursman? The umpire says no. 35 metres out from the Bombers' goal at the punt road end. Melbourne by 17 points. Time against them. Draper lost his footing and bounced off his head to Langdon. Kicks straight to the boundary line. This, if it goes out of play, will be interesting. Bolstrop sliding after it. Umpire says insufficient intent. It's becoming a crazy game as Redmond chips into the pocket. Stringer had it spoiled and it goes out of play. Right forward pocket. Jake Stringer stands there with his hands on his knees, wondering if he was impeded.
Well, I reckon that you can't be chopping the arms if the ball only goes 8 metres. So it's not a legitimate marking attempt.
It's a bad option, I reckon. Late in the game, you've got to win. He kicked to a bloke who's 47 metres out in the boundary, 4 metres away.
Back where we started, Melbourne by 17 points. It comes down to Tholstrup. Kicks into the middle of the ground for Melbourne. Mackay gathers. Every moment important now for the Bombers. Hand pass to Hine. Links up with Shield. Hand pass to McGrath. Short is at 15. It is. The smart pass. Play on Sakul. He's 50 out. Veers out to the right. It's a long kick. Melbourne are well situated. Lever spoils it down. Caddy can't take it cleanly. He toe pokes into the goal mouth. Tom McDonald's hand pass to Bowie and Melbourne around.
They're trying to hold on here. Melbourne's defences. Bowie gets it to Windsor, who kicks down towards Penny. Chopped off by Mackay. He can't mark it on his second attempt. He just sits down.
He's claiming the mark. He tried to pull one over the umpire. The umpire said, I've seen this before.
Pick it up off the ground and then say I marked it.
So he waited, and that was always going to be holding the ball once Penny just came, wrapped his arms around Mackay. Now Mackay's doing the old, my hand hurts a little bit. After Petty, now with the free, he kicks it down towards half forward for Melbourne. It's the Bombers there. It's Redmond who can chip it to Durham, who's holding on to the footy. Centre wing. The Bombers still trying to go here. Not a lot of time left in this game, and Durham will kick to the top of the 50. Draper goes over the top. Guelphy chasing after it. Here's Stringer. He can pick it up. The umpire will stop things here, and he'll take a little sting out by paying the free kick towards Melbourne. The ball doesn't come back cleanly to Jake Lever, but he will have it 40 metres out from defensive goal for Melbourne.
Well, he just threw the ball away, and there was no 50 as Salem takes the mark. Short to Neil Bullen as the sand in the hourglass starts to run out, and Alex Neil-Bullen at right half back sends Melbourne long down the members wing. Melcham works his way to the front, spoiled away by Ridley. It trickles towards the boundary line and out in front of Dersma, in front of the faithful Melbourne fans, who in a few moments will rise. 31 minutes gone, final term. Simon Goodwin with hugs and exchanges on the bench.
It's a big win.
As the ball gets thrown back into play, Draper in front of Van Rooyen, the siren sounds and the Demon spirit on full display in the MCG. The Demons go from 10th to 6th with their 10th win of the season, and a golden opportunity for the Bombers goes begging. Melbourne by 17 points.
It's the emblem of the team we love, the team of the red and the blue. Every heart beats true for the red and
So by a point at quarter time, Melbourne by 13 at half time, by 17 at three-quarter time, and then a wacky final term. The Bombers kick the first of the final term to close within 11. The Demons then put on the next 5 goals of the match to get out by 41 points. Only for the Bombers to then kick the next 4. They kicked 4 goals in 7 minutes to get within 17 points, but the Demons reign supreme. 13-6-84 to the Bombers, 10-7-67.
It's a grand old flag, it's a high-flying flag, it's the emblem for me and for you. It's the emblem of the team we love, the team of the red and the blue. Every heart beats true for the red and the blue, and we sing this song to you. Should old acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the red and the blue.
The Demons join the Hawks and the Western Bulldogs as the upset winners for this Saturday of round 18 and this crazy 2024 season. Well, it's a week-to-week prospect at its best as we try and work out who is the best and who are making up the numbers. Melbourne by 17 points. For the winners, 3 goals to Bailey Fritsch, 3 goals to Daniel Turner, 2 goals to Jake Melcham and Decosi Pickett in game 100. Individuals to Windsor, Langdon and Chandler for the Demons, while for the Bombers, 3 goals to Nick Martin, 2 of which came in the final term, 2 goals to Dersma and to Langford, individuals to Durham, Jones for the Bombers. Melbourne by 17 points in front of 52,866 fans. The Demons' 10th win of the season. So having been outside the top 8 at the start of round 18 in 10th position, they now jump to 6th and they're just behind the Bombers in 5th spot on the ladder. Daniel Harford and Nathan Burke with their assessments on Melbourne's 17-point win.
Well, they were the better team for the night, is what the short story is. They were tougher and harder for the majority of the contest in really difficult and challenging conditions through the evening. And I think that's the way that they've got to play. They're a tough, hard team. Contest and defence. We mentioned it through the call. Simon Goodwin he goes hoarse yelling about it to the media when he gets a chance to talk about who they are as a footy team, and they showed that again tonight. Once they got away from that the first part of the year, the D's, they tried to be a bit more expansive and a bit more exotic with the way they played. But this is who they are. Tough, inside, contested, surge footy with a great setup behind the ball. And they did that tonight to dismantle the Bombers. The Bombers tried to have that kick mark game, which served them so well last week against the Pies. Difficult conditions to do that. But it's all very well to do that when you've got no defence or no pressure, like Collingwood put on last week, but the D's weren't up for that. They were going to put on heaps of pressure, and they did that all night, which made it really difficult for the Bombers to be able to move the ball efficiently through the ground or up and down the ground. So that was the standout thing for me tonight. I'm really pleased to see Clayton Oliver back in some good form after a quite unusually quiet game time and possession-wise first quarter. But Langdon on the wing, Rivers doing his job inside there. I love the smalls. I love having Melcham back into that team. Pickett's really evolving into a fantastic player. Salem did his job across half-back. Tolstrup, I don't mind either, Berkey, seeing what he's doing. But I think they were just a better team for the contest in conditions that suited, and the Bombers weren't able to match them in that regard, which, if I'm Brad Scott, I'm ultimately pretty disappointed in.
Yeah, absolutely. For the Bombers, they had 411 possessions, which is a lot. It's 45 more than what Melbourne actually had. When you look at the inside 50s, they went inside 57 times more, but for 45 extra possessions. And they get a lot of blokes who just run around and get a lot of touches. 11 of them had 20 or more. But there's the other side of the game as well. It's that pressure side of the game that may not even give you a tackle. It's just pushing up to make sure that the player who's disposing of the ball has to hurry when they get rid of the football. And the next one in line has to hurry when they get rid of the football. That's not what I see from Essendon. I don't see any of that sort of unrewarded pressure. Yep, okay, tackles. They might have won the tackle 70 to 56. So when you know the person is there to tackle, they tackle them. But that's not ultimately the ultimate guide of pressuring the other team. It's being prepared to leave your player, and potentially have your player get the footy, be coming forward and putting pressure on. And to me, the difference between these two sides tonight were Melbourne were prepared to do that. They were prepared to play that team defence, and no matter what, we're going to harass the other team force them into errors. Whereas I think Essendon players are thinking, you know what, I'm not going to do that because there might be a chance that I can actually get on the end of one out here and get a few easy possessions. And if Essendon are going to play in finals and they're going to factor in finals, it's that defensive side. We see every year, time and time again, that the best defensive sides are the ones who actually go to the pointy end of the season, right into the grand final. Until Essendon can get that into their game, a lot of these blokes think more about actually working hard for their teammates than actually getting the ball in their hands. Well, then they won't be a very, very good side. And it's twice I've seen them here at the MCG against Geelong and against Melbourne, and the same thing has bit them in the bum. So they need to get that defensive side of the game. And if these blokes can't do it, and I'm looking at blokes like Gresham, Perkins, Guelphy, Cox, if you blokes aren't getting a lot of footy, but you're not playing defence either. And so they're just running through you all the time. So if you guys can't do it, well, Brad Scott, find some other guys who can do it, because you're not going to be any good until you do.
Couldn't agree more. They're the four I wrote down. Kelly down back, I thought was largely disappointed tonight to the way he defended. Got 18 possessions, but your job's to defend.
Yeah.
That's got to be your baseline foundation of your game. Didn't see enough of really desperate defence from him, and I'm normally a fan of his work. Dyson Heppel, I'm not sure he's the answer. Going forward, Redmond didn't give much defence. Offence is great, but not much defence. I think Jake Stringer's got to have a look at how he's impacting games as well. He had the 20 disposals, but they had, as you said before, 50 more disposals as a group, but they went nowhere with them. They weren't able to advance and take the ball forward or advance the game. So very disappointing. It's as bad as I've seen Essendon this year, I reckon. Outside that Port game, was that Gather Round, was it? Somewhere near there. Outside that, it's as bad as I've seen. This would be a big kick in the guts, I reckon, for Essendon. Brad Scott could quite rightly be scathing in his assessment of the team tonight.
We're going to have to come back to that. No Max Gawn, no Christian Petrarca. A big win for the Demons at the MCG. Let's join Rory Campbell.
It's been a long, wet night. A warm embrace here in the change rooms. The D's players are just forming up into the circle for their song. I'll let them take it away.
The Blues are back for the Demons as they move back inside the top 8, their 10th win of the season. 13-6-84 to the Bombers, 10-7-67. Back down to Rory Campbell in a few moments' time as the Demons will most likely head into a team meeting, and then we'll get some reaction. So, Berkey, how significant is that for Melbourne? The question of, I guess, Simon Goodwin during the week was how will you fill a big hole like Max Gawn? And he said it'll be a good chance for us to try some different personnel and some different methodology. And that was the most interesting part tonight about the youngsters who have stepped up to lead the next wave of this Melbourne brigade.
Yeah, it's funny that we hardly mentioned it tonight, no Max Gawn. If there's a player who leaves a hole in their team, there's no bigger hole than what Max leaves. And I think they found out two things tonight. One is that Harrison Petty's not the answer.
As a ruck, yep.
As a ruck.
Yep.
He's a forward, and that's it. But Jacob Van Rooyen might be the answer. I really liked what he did in there, and you don't often chuck your big Rolls Royce in the ruck and do that sort of thing. But the way that he competed tonight, the way that he got his hand to the ball, he really changed things in that second quarter for the Demons. That's when they won the clearances and started to get some ascendancy. So I think no Petty. Definitely Van Rooyen, but they need to bring someone in the side who's going to give Van Rooyen a chop out, because he can't do it for the whole game. But there's wins and there's wins. And tonight,
little wins within the big win.
Yeah, tonight was a big win for the D's.
Yeah, I agree with that. You're right. We did mention it once after the start of the game, what we're going to do about Max. But conditions, obviously, I think played into it.
Sam Draper? I mean, you're going to come back to the Bombers in a few moments' time, but that was the area of the game where we thought if their contest and clearance work outshine Melbourne, that will be the part where they can absolutely take over this game. And yet, it was Melbourne you were singing the praises of with their contest and their ability in the end to get the Bombers on the spread as well.
Yeah, and that's the difference. So they just didn't look like they had the appetite enough to compete the Bombers tonight and really want to fight and get dirty and then and get the game on terms through that method as opposed to just the kick, mark, control, possession sort of stuff. And that's what disappoints me most. But on the flip side of that, as you say, that the young fella Van Rooyen goes in. He's got Viney fighting for him. He's got Neil Bullen in their work. He's got Pickett, who's a dynamic player at centre bounce in particular. Oliver obviously had a good night tonight as well. I just think they were more desperate around the ball, and it wasn't necessarily a reflection on Draper, who had 33 hit-outs to Van Rooyen had 17 and 10 between them.
If you look head-to-head, so ruck contest between the two of them, there was 42 of them. Hit-outs 14-17 in favour of Draper. Hit-outs to advantage 6-5 in favour of Van Rooyen. And probably the key one were the clearances 23-13 in favour of Melbourne when Van Rooyen and Draper were against each other.
Yep.
And 2 goals to Melbourne and no score to the Bombers.
So that's a fascinating dynamic, I reckon, Berkey. And you've coached, you've played, you've been through every facet of footy. When you haven't got a recognised ruckman, and the way you plan for that. Because if you've got Max Gawn in there, you're planning for Max to win it, you're planning for a neutral ball, and you're planning for, at some stage, Draper to win it. But if you've got Van Rooyen in there, you often can cut out trying to predict Van Rooyen winning the contest. And you only got to plan for 2 scenarios and focus on 2 scenarios, being the neutral ball and the opposition winning it. Even though he got his hands on the footy a bit, as you say, I think it does make it a bit easier sometimes for the mids to say, right, we don't have to get too funky with our setup here and try too much, particularly in challenging conditions like tonight. We can keep it pretty simple and then just try and minimise the damage or surge the ball forward or get it out of the area really quickly and play the game from there.
You look at Draper versus Petty, well, that was 16-12. Clearances were 12-11 in favour of the Bombers and 1 goal 2 in favour of the Bombers. So, I think Van Rooyen did extremely well.
Yep.
But, I think conditions did probably help to a degree. And I think you look at the Melbourne midfielders, Viney just loved these conditions. He had 20 possessions. Neil Bullen started with the job early against Zach Merritt, but they sort of released that after a period of time. It didn't sort of hang around for the whole day. And I think Clayton Oliver started slowly, but really worked himself into the game. And it started this last quarter when they really needed to put their foot down. He was probably the best player in the first 10 minutes of this last quarter.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Ollie's Clayton's last 3 quarters. He might have had a boot issue in the first quarter. I did see him on the bench doing his lace-up at some stage, so maybe there was something going on there. But I've watched him the last couple of weeks quite closely, and I think that's the best he's been for Melbourne in a little while. We mentioned Langdon through the call. Stephen May had a big game behind the ball for them. McVee's really impressing. I think his one-on-one capabilities is better than I thought. I must admit, he's become a real good one-on-one player, let alone the fact he's prepared to work. A couple of times in open space, he was the one that would work harder to get to the ball first, had to run 30, 40 metres to get there. And that's a really good sign for a defender. We've talked about Windsor through the call as well. Pickett, Tolstrup, who's got really tight curl in his hair, hasn't he? So coming to American fans, let him use Soul Glow. There'll be some Soul Glow in his bathroom, I reckon. Tholstrup, he's got some give as well.
With that detailed analysis, let's head down to the Melbourne rooms.
Hey guys, as the D's kicked away today, Bailey Fritsch found his way onto the scoreboard. Bailey, you got there in the end, I guess. Nice to get a win over the Dons.
Yeah, 100%. Coming in against a side that's in some pretty good form. We had to play at our best. Obviously, with some personnel out, we really wanted to double down on system, and it's not about personnel, it's about system and coming together, and I thought we did that really well tonight.
Your number one big man out. It was wet weather footy out there. How much of the planning was around the conditions, or was it just around circumstances and personnel?
I think you have a look at, Jacob Van Rooyen, Harrison Petty come in for Max. Obviously, we'd rather have Max, but I thought they did an unbelievable job, especially when the ball went to ground. It was like having another midfielder. You see Jacob Van Rooyen, he was just kicking the ball forward flat out. And obviously, with the conditions, you rock up to footy. Sometimes it's dry, sometimes it's wet, and you just have to adapt. And I thought we adapted really well.
Tell us about some of these guys who are getting the job done. I think you think of Melbourne over the last few years and success. You think of guys like Max Gawn, Christian Petrarca. Tell us about some of the guys that are impressing you and coming through and really taking a hold of this team as the next generation.
Oh, yeah, I think there's heaps of boys. Colton Tholstrup and Caleb Windsor have come in their first year and not just playing games of footy, but impacting games of footy and being really important. Caleb's had some unbelievable games and was really good again tonight, and Colton's come in over the last month and really provided something from an energy point of view, and obviously when the ball's in his area, he's a tough bugger. So, they've been unbelievable, and they're only going to keep growing in confidence and building, so it's good.
I'll throw it to the team upstairs. We've got Matt Clinch, Lauren Borden, Nathan Burke and Daniel Harford.
Bailey, congratulations, mate. Outstanding effort, and I thought tonight your pressure, your defending, your coming forward to put pressure on the opposition was outstanding and really made a difference. Probably the big difference between the two teams is that willingness to just leave my man and come forward and put pressure on the footy. Is that something that you guys really work and pride yourselves on?
Yeah, I think it stems back to, we had a really bad game against Fremantle probably 5-6 weeks ago, and we sort of wanted to double down on being aggressive in our contest, but also aggressive in our defence. And since that game, I think we've really come a long way and sort of got back to that Melbourne way that they've probably come to know over the past few years, and hopefully we can keep building on that going forward.
And a couple of guys that, obviously with Christian being out of the team, you've had some others like Trent Rivers step up in that midfield. Did you ever think that, he was probably capable of stepping up the way that he has?
Yeah, he's actually, over the last couple of pre-seasons, he's went through the midfield at times, and we always knew that if someone went down or if we needed a bit of a change-up, even sometimes in games over the last couple of years, he's probably gone in there for a 10-minute burst just to give us a different look. And, you see the footy he's playing over the last month, he'd be right up there in the comp of, the best midfielders. So he's going to keep building, and I love playing with him.
And finally, last one for me, sort of casual observers of Melbourne for the last few years have been sort of saying, hey, they need someone to give Bailey Fritsch a bit of a chop out. They need someone who's that extra player, and without Van Rooyen down there tonight playing primarily in the ruck, Daniel Turner kicking 3 goals, you seem to work pretty well as a duo, the two of you.
Yeah, we've had probably over the last 8-10 weeks, we've had a bit of continuity with our sort of bigger guys. I'm not much of a bigger guy, I'm a little bit smaller, but now you got Daniel Turner, Harrison Petty, Jacob Van Rooyen. We've really built some continuity, and then Jake Melksham's sort of just come back from injury and played 2 unbelievable games now, and he's just plugged into, I guess, what we've been building over the last couple of weeks. So hopefully we can keep building on that going forward, obviously with one of them in the ruck at the moment with Max, but hopefully we can get back soon, and I'm sure we'll work it out down forward.
Bailey, Daniel Harford, mate, well done to you and the boys tonight. I was interested to watch your forward set up or playing forward of the ball tonight, the way you set up. You committed your half forwards really high to the contest, which means it was just more often than not 4, maybe even 3 sometimes ahead of the ball. How challenging is that to find the movement from contest when you've only got 3 ahead of the footy to make it efficient going forward?
Yeah, we knew that going into the game that we're going to be 1 down, obviously with a little bit of a tag on merit with Neil Bullen, so we're already playing with 5, and then at times, obviously playing with 3 or 4 forwards. But, we pride ourselves as big guys to bring the ball to the front and let our small guys come into play. And although we were outnumbered, I thought we did a really good job at times. I know early Mackay was a little bit on top, but I thought as the game went on, we won the ball or we halved it, and that brought the ground level play in. And I think moving forward, that's going to be something that was going to be really important, just to keep bringing that ball to ground or marking it.
Yeah, that worked the treat the way he did it tonight. And I was really pleased to see Clayton Oliver have a pretty big game. The first quarter was pretty quiet, spent most of the time on the bench, in Hartford on the bench, which was unusual, but really started to get going in that second half in particular when the game was on the line, the whip started cracking. He was really, really positive, I reckon, for you guys tonight. You must love seeing him back out there doing his thing.
Yeah, 100%. Clary works as hard as anyone at the footy club, and he's probably been a little bit down on his form, and he'd say that himself, but to see him going and have some critical contests like you say, and you want your big players in the big moments, and I thought he brought that tonight, and he's only going to keep building on that.
Bailey Fritsch joining us on ABC Sport after the Demons' 17-point win. Bailey, it's Lauren Borden up here. I just wanted to ask you about Jake Melksham, who you mentioned. You can see how much the whole team gets around him on the field. Can you tell us a bit about how it's impacted having him back on the field with you, but also the role he played when he'd be sitting on the bench while he was out injured?
Yeah, Jake's been unbelievable. From the day that he did his ACL last year against Sydney, he's been like another coach to us forwards. He sat on the bench. He sees the game really well. He's a really good close mate of mine, and he's helped not only me but every single forward and nearly every single person in this club moving to get better. And you wouldn't have known he's been like his ACL recovery's gone so quick because he just gave to his teammates and gave to the club. And it's great to see him back out on the field now and playing great footy.
Bailey Fritsch is with you on ABC Sport. Do you feel like a few people start to ride your team off, Bailey, this season?
We don't really want to buy into that. Obviously we had some lean weeks, but over the past month I think we've really started to build, and this season's pretty crazy. You got to play your best footy all the time, otherwise you'll get beat. So it's that close, and hopefully we can keep winning and climbing up the ladder.
So you're up to 6. Now, Half wants to ask you a hard-hitting question, so I'll just finish with my one around you. I think you've got 9 players who have played 50 games or less, and this Melbourne side is kind of changing on the run. Which of the youngsters is exciting you the most out there at the moment?
Oh, it's hard to go past Caleb Windsor for a guy that's played probably, what are we in now, round 15. He's probably played 15 games, 16 games, and he's not only his run, but his contest work for, a lighter frame 18-year-old, we wouldn't expect it to be so good. And, he's unbelievable, especially when he gets the ball on the run and finishes like he did in front of goal tonight.
I think Bailey's the poor last one in the room. It's right half far away.
Now you're rocking a really rock-solid do. We know that. But I'm really interested in what sort of product our man Tholstrup's using in the showers to look after that hair. That's a really tight curl he's running. What sort of product does he have to use to keep that in nick?
I actually don't know. He hasn't. I might actually ask him because it looks pretty good. He just wets it and then it ends up being looking unreal. So, I don't know what he's using, but I might have to tap into that, I think.
You get some of that. That looks really good stuff.
Bailey, as always, thanks for your time. Congratulations on a big win tonight.
Too easy. Thanks, guys.
Bailey Fritsch joining us from the Victoria's Melbourne Rooms, kicking 3 goals tonight alongside Daniel Turner. The Demons move from 10th on the ladder to 6th with their 10th win of the season, while the Bombers, they suffer their 6th loss, 10 wins, 1 draw and 6 losses. They're on 5th spot on the AFL ladder. And the Demons have the Fremantle Dockers in Perth next Saturday night. So the Dockers having lost today, big win for the Hawks. The Blues having gone down to the Western Bulldogs. It's just such a curious stage of the season, even though we are at round 18, to just let Bailey Fritsch know a few extra rounds in there. But
it's a long season.
It does feel like it is the season that goes on and on and on. And who is going to be still standing at the end?
Didn't Melbourne play Freo about 3 weeks ago in Alice Springs? Was that?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It was a while ago.
Round 12.
It's about 7 weeks ago.
Time flies.
They got whacked that day.
They did get whacked. They want to have a bit of revenge on that one because they were terrible that day. We'll put that down to the travel.
So first time since round 7 and round 8, Simon Goodwin's side has had back-to-back wins. On the SMS 0437 774 774, on air for about another half an hour. If you want to add your thoughts to ours, Rod from Hobart says Judd McVie having a great game. 23 disposals and 15 intercept possessions. May, Lever, McVie providing a really stable defensive structure.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because then you can allow you guys to run off half-back. You can get Salem involved off half-back if you want. You can throw Windsor from the wing to the half-back, which sometimes happen, not too often, but sometimes happen. Bowie can get more involved in offence in those situations, because McDonald was back there as well, providing some support aerially and from the body-on-body one-on-one contest. So it's a rock-solid platform to build from. It's how they've started their game. They've built from the back and built their game off the back of that with their contest. They talk about it a lot. And May and Lever together are fantastic. They're just an unbelievable duo to watch in action, the way they use each other's position and talk to each other and structure each other up through games. It's a really positive thing for the Melbourne Footy Club. And when one of them's out, they become vulnerable. And we've seen that through the season when Lever's missed a couple of games and May got suspended or was it injured, whatever it was, is out of a game. When they're not there together, it's a very different look behind the ball for the Ds because they don't have that security and experience driving it. So, yeah, it's a great foundation, and that's why they've been a top 4 team the last couple of years, a flag the year before that. They've been one of the challenges, and the challenge now, as you rightly said before, is to get this team built on the run with new players and still be as effective through a finals campaign.
Adrian from Geraldton says, how many times did the Bombers keep the ball out on the full tonight? I counted at least 6. And Fran from Melbourne, a regular listener, says, this is an intense game. These games have been really good so far this round. Great to hear the thoughts of Berkey and Half, a great addition to the team. There may be still hope for the Pies. Well, yeah, with such an even season, teams like the Western Bulldogs, who all of a sudden have got wins on the weekend, Collingwood, that gap, it's not growing at the moment with sides unable to take their chances. And some weird things happening in Adelaide, it must be said, as well, with a big win for the Adelaide Crows over the Saints, 10-11-71 to St Kilda, 5-9-39.
Hang on, they scored 39 points.
Yep.
They were 39 at half-time, weren't they?
They were half-time score.
That. So much so that Ross Lyon became a little frustrated in the second quarter, whacked the phone on the desk, and I think he broke the phone at one stage, tried to fix it. And Riley Thilthorpe, finally making his return, was, I think, taking some selfies with the fans at the Adelaide Oval. So much so he missed the team song as Adelaide were belting out their winning tune. So unfortunately for Riley. He's put on some kilos as well, but didn't get a chance to join with his teammates and sing the song.
So St Kilda, just going through the stats, St Kilda have kicked 2 goals, 6 after quarter time in that game.
Yep.